It's not who I am underneath that defines me, but what I do. You want to get nuts? Come on, let's get nuts. Just because someone stumbles and loses their path doesn't mean they're lost forever. You're making me angry. You wouldn't like me when I'm angry. I let my father die because I trusted him, because he was convinced that I had to wait, that the world was not ready. What do you think? With great power comes great responsibility.
Good evening. Hopefully you guys can hear me, and I apologize right from the onset. I had Rico visit tonight, and Rico is going to be on the show called Kiwis Review Comic Books. Now, that's coming up in October 6th, and it's going to be for the whole month, and we're going to carry on if you guys support it and like it and stuff. So please like, subscribe, and we did a really cool little promo cut for it. It was really cool. I enjoyed it. We did a one take. That's all it was. It kind of like stunned him because, I was doing all the talking as usual. But Rico's a good old friend of mine. I've known him since around about maybe, 2018. No, 25 or something like 2015. Thank you, Nugget. Awesome. Cheers, brother. Appreciate it. So yeah, so he dropped in, and because we're picking up some books there's an event on here this weekend called Sandbox, right? It's a fandom event, and so I said to him, "Hey, look, Justin Young, right? They sent me some news on horror comic writer, sci-fi writer, I think horror comic writer. He's got a book called Freak, the graphic novel." I think you can check it out on Big Cartel or on his Facebook page. I'll pop it up soon. So Justin, so I said to Justin, "Hey, look, we haven't got anything coming up in the next couple of months. So what I'm going to do is I'll ask Rico, because Rico is going to be selling also my other good friend Shane Evans' latest work. His latest work, which is not Judge Dredd, but you can see the style. He's got a comic book coming out called it's a second issue, I think. It's coming out called the Chronicles of the Wasteland. And so Rico is going to be taking Shane's one, and he's going to now take Justin's one as well. And because he's going to have a News on Comics and Collectibles is his brand, right? It's his thing. He's got a group called News on Comics and Collectibles on Facebook. You can check it out. It's for News on people, comic fans and stuff. And also, he's been supportive of me for my Plunge convention, right? You can see it there. And of course, Nugget's been there as well. And he had a great time, I hope. And hey, man. Hey, Vals. How's it going? And also, yeah, thank you, Nugget. Yeah, so I just, I have good friends. And the other day I put up on Facebook how I've done so many things in my life, say, since I was 16 when I left home, right? No, when I was 15, when I dropped out of school, in my like 3 months or 2 months into my fifth form year. So I didn't get school cert or whatever, you're supposed to get for middle school, I think it is, middle high or whatever Americans call it, or junior high or something like that. I didn't get that. So all the learnings I've had is outside of that. Like I dropped out and went and did a first year of chef school, right? And first year, when I was 15, I did that. Mum was going to say, "Hey, let's go. Maybe you want to try the Navy." So we went to this careers day thing they had on, and I was skinny, man. Like, they looked at me and went like, "Yeah, nah, I don't think this is for you." My mum said, like, "Well, you could go be the cook and something." Like, "Nah, you don't have the physique for it, dude." So, but this other thing came up. There was, the chef's course came up, and I did that for 6 months. Loved it. And then, I moved to Auckland. I did a data processing, like spreadsheets and stuff. This is when computers, were only about putting input and output. There was nothing like game design or anything like that, or internet or video. So I think people don't realize how wonderful and amazing this generation is. They really don't get it. If you haven't grown up with it, you will never understand how much we appreciate this thing. And to see people not utilize the technologies uh, that's available right now, right? That you could make a movie, a short film on your phone, 10K, right? Or what is it, 40K or something? I don't know, 4K, or even maybe a little bit less, right? 1080p. Now, 1080p is what I made my film in, my feature school length, hour and 15 minute third year project. And it was a 9,000 freaking camera. Can you understand that? You basically have 1080p on your phone now. Yet in 2003 or 2004, when I was shooting a short film, I had to lug around this friggin' huge thing like this, where now I could just go like this and I'll be fine. Or put it on a tripod, right? And move it slowly. Or put it on a gimme, right? Which is just this big. Whereas before you have to have it tied to your body. So, so it wouldn't be too motion sensitive. And I, we've this, been talking this couple in the next couple of days, we'll be talking to filmmakers. And because, I've done filmmaking, right? I've went from like stage plays, short, like 5 minute, little stage skits, to productions. From that, I went to filmmaking. No, actually, from that, I went to another place and I did the same thing. And then I also did the guitar. Then I went to film school, right? And I want to talk to these filmmakers and get people, younger people to understand, this generation understand that while they are moaning and not, frustrated with their lives, it's only because they don't understand what's available, or their brain isn't able to understand what it was like growing up without it, because they've grown up with it, right? So when you look at people like us in our 40s and 50s now, and we're on here, we appreciate what we're doing on here. We appreciate the ability to do this, just to jump on, right? And be able to talk to you guys all over the world, man. You don't understand how grateful and how amazing and unique that is for us who have never had this as kids and never thought it would be such a thing. So, to have this opportunity and just to sit here and talk to you people out there in the world, right? It's amazing. And I love talking to people. I think for me, I've grown up learning from other people, and whatever I know, whatever I think, it's a lot of that's because everybody's put that into me and have given up their time and experiences into my life. So for me, all I want to do is encourage people to do more with their lives, and because hopelessness comes from lack of direction, right? So if you're a hope, if you have no hope, it's because you're directionless, right? Like it's like they say, a canoe without without oars, you just bounce around in the sea in the boat with no engine, nowhere to go, just like whatever comes, you just get pushed around, like. But if you have a direction, you aim for that. And I think a lot of times, even me, man, like seriously, 2000 like 2018, I was right there. When I moved into this apartment, I was like totally hopeless. I felt really lonely. I just suddenly came to be living by myself after, what is it, like 5 years ago, at 45 years age, right? Suddenly at 45 years age, I was living by myself, alone for the first time. And it was like, it just hit me. I was like, I'm so lonely. And my sister said to me, right, and I'm always going to say this because it's her that got me to really think about things. She said, what do you love? All right, what is it that you love? Right, what makes you happy? You know? And I said, I love art and I love music, right? And and I was like, I should do that, you know. I should do, I love comics and I love art and I do music and I'll do that. And I've been doing that hard out for the last 5 years, and I've been getting happier and happier and happier and happier. And and I think because finally, you know, it's the same thing my mom said to me way back in '94. I just come out of my second year of hospitality and tourism, and I did not want to go into chef's course, and I did that today, right? Same thing. I talked to a guy like from Nelson, no, Christchurch. He was in Christchurch studying, just finishing his second year, like almost finished his second year bar for chefs, right? Because you get a bar, right? You get a first bar, second bar, third bar, fourth and fifth, right? Fifth is like Michelin, I think it is, you know. So both of us in the same bar. We're second bar, and we're so far apart, right? I think it's about 15 odd years younger than me, maybe I think maybe 20 years younger than me. But like he was in Christchurch doing a second bar, and the earthquake hit. He was in there, and he got a call saying, "Hey, we don't want to carry on with the course." I mean, he'd already done it, but he was like about getting, the finishing end. You sort of go in and you do the finish off. He said, his head of department or whatever, he's at Crisis Polytech, I think that's what it's called. And he said, they just told me like there's no more school, right? He's just finishing a second. There's no more friggin' school because the earthquake hit. And unless you've been in that, you don't know what that's like. I've been in a hurricane, hiding under the friggin' bed as a roof, the tin roof, right, corrugated iron roof, is getting pulled off by the hurricane, by the cyclone. And you can hear it banging, and you're a kid, 7 years old, 8 years old, hiding under the friggin' thing. I think this was the second time I remember being under there, and I just got used to it. We just knew, like, okay, time to get some hot tea ready and biscuits, right? Water biscuits, water crackers, whatever they call them. Stuff they give you on boats, like in the old days. And that was our dinner, lunch, and breakfast. Like hot tea, no milk or anything like that, just hot tea and bit of sugar. And yeah, we gotta get through this hurricane. Bang, bang, bang. Bits of our roof went off. And here's the thing. I think must have been about 1984. That was the last time actually I had to go back to stay there, like for a whole year, because I was having trouble here. And just not because, stranger in a strange land wasn't just working for me. I was getting into trouble. And Mom just said, go, gonna ship you back, right? Get you sorted. So the hurricane hit that time. And so Granddad goes, all right, get on the roof, nail it down. So my granddad's teaching me how to use a nail hammer at 8, 9 years old. But before that, my dad had already taught me that, right? So one of the things, the troubles I feel that we have in our society right now is because lack of fathers in the home. And the weird thing was today, when I was talking and I said that to him, he said back to me, same thing. He said, same thing. He said, there's nobody there at home going, get your act together, get to school, go do that job, go mow the lawns, right? Go cut down that tree, go help your mom in the garden, right? Pull up the weeds. There's nobody at the home doing that. Because when you get that sort of structure and you learn what it's like to be working under a boss, working alongside people who just, that sort of thing. It's like just giving you a bit of structure, time to do this. If you don't have that, you basically are losing a half of your personality and your strengths. And I think having no dads in the home is the cause of that. Now, I'm going to go into that later on, like next week with Hawk, and we're going to talk about, that sort of stuff. But I want to talk about what happened to me last year, right? So I'm just going to put a bit of clip in here so I can actually, I'll leave that. So last year, I made the mistake of asking on a Facebook group for a Chinese speaking person who could also speak English because I wanted someone who could actually translate. And I made the ignorant, thing where, because I just thought, because not every Indian speaks English well, right? That was my thing. It's like, even I don't speak Indian really well. So that was in my head. So anyway, I put this out there and saying that we're going to be part of this convention, this festival. Like, really, it was K-pop festival. Lots of Asians, a lot of Islanders, Pacific Islanders, look, everybody, right? But I don't want to make the mistake, because at that time we didn't have an MC, and I was looking for an MC because that was my job, find an MC. So I put out, hey, does anybody out there? And I got dogpiled. It was like, how ignorant can you be? I'm like, dude, I'm trying to make sure I have someone there who actually has good vocals thing. Here's the thing. Today, we had a Chinese lady reading to us rules about what was going to happen, because I had a situation today that, information to a whole group of people, like about 40 people. And people next to me were saying, I can't understand what she's saying. And I'm saying that's because she's got to translate in her head, right? Her language back into English. And I even have that hard. And I don't speak a lot of Hindi around my family. I basically speak English, right? I'll speak to my auntie. I'll get, who doesn't speak English that much at all. And I'll start speaking, and then I'll turn into English, and she'll get a couple of it. And then I'll turn back into Hindi. And I think the ignorance is that people think everybody's the same, right? So everybody's at the same level, right? So that came across. And so the next thing that came across was like, okay, we're going to do this. And then it's like, I posted, and suddenly it was like, oh, I got a target on my back because now I'm a racist. And I'm like, none of you idiots know. And I just like, I didn't even know this was happening, right? Because it was just like, okay, here's what's happening. Okay, guys, would like you to be involved, because I always like people to be involved. And Nugget can tell you that I like to have people doing amazing things around me, because I think that sort of things happening allows people to see so many different things, which means that someone who doesn't like comics might like manga or anime, right? Someone who doesn't like metal might like hip hop. So you get that. So you got to understand that the more people you're around, the more people, there's opportunities for people to connect with people. And that's how I've always been, because in my life I've always had people of all cultures, not by my choosing, but just the fact that I enjoy a whole lot of different things. And then I just talk to people. I ask them, like the guys next to me, right? Hey, so what you do? Because that's the first question you ask anybody. What do you do? And then you start talking, you learn about people, and the guy was saying, he's a concrete layer. No longer is he a chef, because he just, after the second year in chef, he was like, I don't want to do this. I don't want people, yelling at me and the stress of the thing. And I was the same thing. That's why I didn't carry on with my chefs. But a few years later, it's what gave me extra cash to pay for bills while I was doing a filmmaking right? Degree. So I spent 2.5 years as a bistro chef in Invercargill, while I was studying and painting walls. By the way, I was also painting as well as selling tiles. So I was doing 3 different jobs. I'd forgotten all that, but the thing is, because I had experience, I had painted with other people. I had painted with my dad. I had, I've gotten that experience. I had also tile laying. I got experience from people around me who were tile layers. And but the other thing was that um, I was actually helping a tile layer, because they had to get jobs done. I never tiled in my life, but earlier while I was here, I was watching somebody else tile lay, and I used to do mosaics. It kind of comes in handy. But I used to be a tile salesman for 2 years, so I was able to have all these experiences, and I could go there, get 3 different jobs, while I studied for 3 years as a filmmaker. trying to get my bachelor's degree. But that's because I was willing to listen. Yeah, and that was my crime. You're right. Yeah. So where are we? So yeah, that's right, Nugget. Yeah, right. And that was my crime. So yeah, dog pile. Yeah, and so the idea was not now. So none of those people knew me, and this is the weird thing. They're the hierarchy of that thing in New Zealand. It seems right. And I had other people come to bat for me, and I go, "Hey, do you realize what's going on here?" Like, what do you mean? Like, I'm not there anymore. I got, once they started going all that, I was like, I'm out. And they say, well, they're saying you're this, you're homophobe, you're transphobe, you're a racist, you're misogynist, and you're anti-vaxxer. And I'm like, this is during lockdown, like last year, right? And so what they'd done was they went through my past posts, unaware of why I was saying what I was saying, never looked into anything and stuff. Oh, the other thing, because I also backed the Canadian truckers, right? Because I'm all about freedom of speech, man, right? I like this past week, right? My mom's 71st birthday. I was sitting with my nephew and he was like talking about hate speech. And I was like, because they had to do the filler. And I said, there's no such thing as hate speech. There's only friggin' speech, right? If somebody says something, you challenge them if you don't agree with them, right? 11-year-old kid, right? Going into 12. You challenge them. If you don't like what they're saying, you challenge them. It's not hate speech. And that's how I live my life. I want everybody to be free around me, and I want to treat them the same way I want to be treated. Do unto others what you want them to do to you, right? Very biblical, right? But it's very real. If you treat people well, people will treat you well. Not always, right? There is a chance that people will use you. And I've had that happen in the last few years, right? And people will say, oh, he said this, and now he won't support me because you changed what you said to somebody else. You said something to me, and then there was a situation like so. A friend of mine was with me, and somebody was telling us they were excited about doing something. I said, "Sweet, do it that way because there'll be something different. That way, it won't be the same, and you'll get more people coming to it, be more excitement, and it'll help both of us because it'll be just so amazing. There'll be more for the community because I'm always doing for the community. Like you watch, you watch next month we've got just Whangarei people coming on, friends of mine who I love, who are amazing people in their own right? And so we've been friends for a couple of years now. And like I said, one of them's like now owns a business, right? Because I gave him opportunities because I was stupid. I didn't know nothing about it. So I'm like, okay, yeah, sure. You go do what you think is cool. Use that space in the shop, whenever you want, and tell me what I need to do, and I'll do it. You guys run it. Now you guys own shop, right? So I think people are just so stupid now. They just use social media like a weapon. They don't use it to help anybody. They don't use it to help themselves. And that's what I said earlier. You don't know what amazing technology we have now. So the next thing that happened was like, and I was like, I got really upset because I was like, man, how could they say these things about me? They don't even know me. So I was like, okay, this is going to damage my business, and it's going to damage my friends who are with me in my business, right? They're volunteers. But at this point, I was actually going to get money to pay them through this thing. And I was going to go, I was going to work, I was putting together a budget to offer to the festival and go, hey, this is what these guys are wanting per hour. This is what I think I am worth. And this is what we need to do for travel, for for uh, for accommodation, everything, because it was out of my league. I was in another city, so I'm not used to that. If it was here, I'll be like, I don't need to travel. I don't need to buy food. I don't have to worry about that. I could just have pocket money and I'm survive for an apple or two. But we're away, so we got to get the meals, everything, and I had to work all that budget out. And there was 5 people. There was about 9 people involved, right? So I'm putting all this package together, and at the same time getting messed on, like attacked on on Facebook and in a private group, right? And which I'm not part of anymore, right? So I'd already left, right? And I see all that, and I said, so I wrote all that. I go, listen, man, you guys don't even know what you're talking about. You're letting this, like, to the admins, you're letting these people, basically ruin me and ruin my friends through me. We're working on a project that's going to earn them a bit of money for the work they already can do, they're good at, because I haven't been able to do that for them. I've only been able to pay them through meals, and vouchers and stuff as rewards for helping me and volunteering with me for my own plunge convention. But now I've been asked to help somebody else start up their thing. And I'm going to get, because I need my friends with me to help me do that, because they're more smarter in those specific areas than I am, right? So I know what my job is. I'm going to be looking after about 10, 15 people who are volunteers, right? I know what my friend's job is. He's going to look after all the artists. I know what their job is. They're going to be looking after, Ethan's job is to look after all the gaming. I know what Lynette's job is. She's going to look after all the cosplay. And she's organized 2 other friends to be there to do that. So we get, so all this is going down, and I'm like, I'm working my butt off. And here these guys are trying to cancel me in New Zealand. New Zealand's a very small place. It's not like America, right? It's not like you can just go, okay, I'm just going to switch off and that's it. And nobody knows who I am really. But here, it's very small. So not only that, I actually had one of my friends, right, who helped me, advise me on how to run a convention, over dinner, who somebody else paid for, who actually supported me starting off Plunge, right? Hinu, right? So this brother goes, hey, man, what's going on with, I'm hearing all this shit about you. I'm like, dude, look, man, here's what I've written. Read this, right? And I said, I've just sent that to my lawyer as well, by the way, because, when you're a public figure who's working in events, right? Who's working in the creative field, who's working with event providers like halls and stuff, you got to be covered, like legally. You can't just be out there, I'm going to do this, do that. So I call my, I call my lawyer and I go, hey, man, emailed him and said, listen, this is happening. And he said, okay, if they go any further, right, then we'll step in. But, let's just see how it plays out. So I said, okay, cool. And because the problem here is that it wasn't just me being attacked. It was the business being attacked. It was the people I was connected to being attacked. And in the community that I'm in the city that I'm in, we all know each other. It's very small. And we know people, like I know the mayor, right? So if suddenly, and I mean, like the mayor took me out to dinner, right? Took me to an event, came to my birthday, that sort of situation. So when you're in a small community like that, where everybody knows everybody, and because you're connected, so much damage can be done to other people, which none of these morons on this Facebook group know anything about. They don't know. See, the people here, like, that do all these attacks and stuff, who try to cancel people, they have no clue about anything because they have no life. They have never achieved anything in their life. So what they want to do is tear down other people. They don't know that while they're sitting, like, say, in, Gisborne. I'll just say Gisborne. I love that place. It's an amazing place. First sunlight, and I was there, by the way, at 2000 millennial on the beach, welcoming the new light. All right, first sunlight in the world, by the way. Amazing place, great beach. Just say, so it's Gisborne, right? Somewhere Gisborne is sitting there going, oh, that dude, let's hit, call him all this stuff. Take a, pull up all this past, Facebook post and let's do that out of context. And some of them were in context because I stand behind everything I say, right? And if I make a mistake, I'll apologize. But yeah, I was, I get upset and I say things, but I still stand behind them. And later on, maybe if I don't agree with them in a later time, then I'll apologize. But hey, that's life. And the problem here is with these people, they just they just, like they say, fiery arrows into your back. No idea who you are because they don't see you like this. What you do, how much passion you have for your community. And I do have passion for community, man. Like, I mean, my whole idea of like building up our comic book thing, right, and setting up the whole network into America and around the world through Risings and Comics is so that when I pass on, other people are able to take that on. Not only that, but other people right now, while I'm still alive and working, are able to get into getting their books through, become creative, write, and all that, set them up, get their works out. Because when I'm dead, I'm dead. There's no coming back from that. And I've been through 3 different suicides over my lifetime, attempts, I should say. All right. So I understand when it's gone, and you go, shit, if I had died, all this in 2011, I think it was, or 2012, since then wouldn't have existed. No comic shop, right? No Ethan, coming in, setting up gaming, right? All that sort of thing, maybe later on, no plunge, no being friends with Shane, because the only time I'd known Shane before that, who's my best friend, right? Who I'd known was at just seeing him every now and then in 1990s at art school, right? Excuse me. Mm. This is the one bottle of Spates that Rico bought over because that's his time off work and that's my time off, just us chilling. And so this is still here after like about what I think he came over around about 6:30, and that's why I was late, by the way. But as I mentioned earlier, but like yeah, so you know, it's just to when you don't have hope, you don't see anything else. Anything else how you can be effective to yourself, to bring goodness into your life, and to bring goodness into other people. And the weird thing is that because of that, all you then do is bring anger and frustration and hopelessness. See, there's a rule, right? Garbage in, garbage out. I learned that when I was a kid, right? That was the first thing our computer teacher, Mr. What's his name? He was my neighbor, by the way. Like his son and I, Stephen, we used to play, we used to hang out, like play, was it Cowboys and Indians kind of thing. And just right there, and we used to play like there's a fence and there's our house, right? And his house. And we used to build a hut together and everything, just best of friends. And he used to play league, and I wasn't that good at it, but I would still, do it because he was a bit more solid than me. But anyway, this is when I was about 13 or so. So that's when the computers came in. Like it was like at high school. I think it was like in New Zealand. It's like about Form 3. I think it was Form 3 when computers came in. So it might have been about like, gosh, 83, something like that. I don't know. I always get mixed up with the times. Too many head injuries, like I say. CTE, yeah, I think that's what they're calling it. But anyway, so he said, listen, when you're working with this computer, what you put in is what you'll get out. So if you type in rubbish stuff will come out like rubbish in, rubbish out, garbage in, garbage out. And that's like us. Like human beings are like that. So if you have misery in your life, excuse me, you'll find miserable people around you. And I've had that happen. I've had like times where I've been miserable and all the miserable people, like my friends, were all miserable with me, right? We were just like birds of a feather, right? And so what I found interesting was like, when you are happy, and you bring that happiness out when you excited about something. You bring joy into other people. You go, hey, look, I'm excited about this lady, Virginia Guy, artist, figure eight artist, right? I love her work. you know you should check it out, how great it's like on natural paper. She makes it herself, she prints it, right, pressed, hand pressed, everything, and you're passing that on. And so now you're sharing something. But then you go, well, what if you go, oh, look at this, what a horror, and now you're passing that, and then that person will never be interested in the work again, because they're trying to, they all be in the head, will be a negative thing about that person all the time. Because, and that's what I love about fandom. And I mentioned that the other day with who was gosh, Lyle, right? We did that live stream, and talking about collecting um comics and toys and stuff. And he's got his own Facebook group with about 400 people on it. Plus he's got his own, I think it's about 12,000. So you know, very, because like these, when you have groups like that, they're very close knit. And so they've got own discourse and stuff. And we talk about how, like, I think I lost my train of thought. What was it about? That oh, I just lost my train of thought. But check that, check that out. Check out that awesome stream. But he just says stuff like, I did a cut of his words of wisdom, and actually I should play that, because I think he's just he's a guy, like, he's a guy who's traveled over the world. And you'll notice that people who have traveled around and have experienced life, and not that I'm saying I have traveled around, I've just traveled around a lot in New Zealand, right? But who have experienced life, right? Um, they, let me get the link here. Oh no, actually I shouldn't get the link there. I should just play it. So they get to when you get to experience other cultures and stuff. Like, that's something I'm going to ask my friend Mike. Mike's going to be confirmed for. Let me see, when he's confirmed to be appearing on Plungecast. So we got a show series next week, right? Uh, I'm hoping it's going to be short and sharp, like, not really really long, because it's on an evening. So I just don't want to take too much of my friends' times. But or unless they want to. But I've got a 2 hour slot, right? So let me see. Where's Mike? Mike's going to come on in about. Where's his face? And so is can just see Mark Kelly there. Where are you, Mike? I think Mike's going to come on the 15th, if I remember right. But I think he's on episode 5. So Mike's basically he's a comedian, right? And he's a Kiwi comedian. There's a difference, right? Uh, Kiwi comedians are very different, and he's very different. And one of the things, did you pop over there? Oh, hold on. There we go. Right. So let me just put this up. So if you, right, let me see. So this is Mike here, right? Right. So Mike, like I said, I surround myself with smarter people than me, right? And I surround myself with some amazing people, because I met Mike on the first day I decided to step out of my house after 2 years of moping. I had lost my business, my comic shop. It was there was challenges, and I had to go. If I don't stop, I'm gonna go into bankruptcy, right? And so I just stopped, and I was depressed for 2 years, just popping pills, right? Every time I fell down, popping pills. So I don't know what happened, but I just decided that that was it, and I would get out of the house and go out. So one night I just went out, and I don't know if this was this was the first night that I went out, but one night I went out, right? And I met Mike at a comedy event, and he gives me his book. He goes, oh, you know, a friend of ours, a comedian friend. So, what do you mean? You know, this guy. And I might actually have him on as well. Dan Brader, right? He's over in Aussie now, but he's a comedian. So I said to Mike, I said, oh no, he said, how do you know the guys? Oh, you know, comics, man. Right? How do you know the comics? Like I read one of his comics called The Kite Family, which was done by Ant Sang, who is going to be a guest on the third episode. So the third Friday of next month on our Friday night show on Kiwis Review Comic Books. And yeah, so see the connection, how small New Zealand is, right? And so we're kind of like about only three people removed, really. Unlike, you know, the rest of the world of America, I guess 6 people. But we're kind of, that's why when somebody you know, attacks you on Facebook and tries to cancel you, it's very damaging because it's very quick, and it's because there's only 2-3, you know, steps before everybody knows you here. So anyway, so he had money land out, and I looked at it and I said, dude, you need to change the cover. Because for me, who comes from reading sci-fi comics, I'm saying your book's sci-fi. There's nothing about this cover that tells me it's sci-fi. But, you know, let's go. He gave me a free copy, went home, read 50 pages, and I went, wicked. And I had to stop reading. But I'm going to read it. But I had to stop reading because I was working on the same concept. And I would, you know, so that's why I don't read comics that much anymore, because I don't want to be influenced by other people's work. But I will listen to all types of music while I'm writing, right? You know, because subliminally, sometimes when you're creative, other people's work will pop in and you don't want to carry on with that. Like songs will pop into my head and I'll just go and burn video on, right? And but we have got amazing guests on the Saturday, Sunday nights. I know our Northern Hemisphere people miss out, but I know our UK, right, people will not, because I think it's early in the morning in the UK at that time, especially in Europe as well. So I think it's around about 8-9 o'clock. But anyway, these will be put up again, right, so that you can watch it, and everybody can watch it again. But because for me, I want to be able to use whatever I can to help my friends get more recognized, step more forward, right? Take more further steps, like get out into the entire world, because New Zealand's a small place. It's ridiculously small. I mean, Fiji is smaller, but you know, it is ridiculously small in the span of things. So if you're only selling to your own little community, you're never going to be able to live off that, right? But if your book is picked up by, you know, by readers all over the world who are into sci-fi, into horror, like that other book he's got there, I've got both of them around me, right? And because the thing is, I bought the other book, but you know, but money then he gave me free. But so if I hadn't stepped out and, you know, met him, I would not have been introduced to his comedy crew, which I joined for a while, and I learned how to do comedy for a bit. But I found that I'm more of a talker than like a funny person, in the sense that you know, I take too long to get to my punchline, right? It's always been that way because you know, my brain wanders all over the place because of the injuries, I think. But not only that, I also got to meet the wider group he was part of, which is improv, right? So they welcomed me in. But I found that after about a month or so, I think it was 6 weeks, I found I couldn't do a lot of the work because my hips, like I use a cane. So I've got 2 little holes in my lower spine. So whenever I move, they move as well. So they cause pain. So I'm on, you know, medication all the time for that. But I found that there was sometimes some of the improv stuff I had to do, it was causing a bit of pain. So I thought, okay, guys, as much as I love this, I'm gonna have to step back. So one of the things, right, was that one of the ladies there, Amber, who's a friend of mine, who's a chef, owns a home restaurant now, who's a friend of mine now, because that's how I met, right? The first time I met. She said, hey, I do a radio show. Would you like to come on the radio show as a guest? I said, sure, right? So now why? So the reason I said sure is because back in 2000, and this is about 2018. So back in about 2001, 2, no, 99, 99 and 2001. So about 2 years there, right? Or 3 years. I was part of a church group, right? I was part of a church, right? Christian church. And one of the things was that I was a DJ on the radio, right? So I was used to radio. So I used to play my own collection of Christian songs, hip hop, whatever, metal, I was able to play all that. It was my choice. I could do whatever. It was my show. And that came out of something really similar, right? Would you guys like to come and talk? You went to this event. Would you like to talk about it? It was the person who asked me to come on there was my friend's aunt, right? So I got to like ended up doing my own show for about 2 years, and then the church was doing wanted decided that hey, it would be cool to like do an hour of music, an hour of like preaching. So yeah, they invested in, right, because they saw me do that. They said, hey, you know what? Why don't we do recordings and we put that on there? We burn it to disk and you put them there, right? All that, and then like it was cool, it was enjoyable, and so I did that. But then I stopped. It was just too much for after a while. So no, what happened was I decided I got married, and I decided to go join a Salvation Army because that's what the job was. Because I just uh, basically got made redundant at about 28 years old, right? Getting made redundant at 28 years old opened my eyes to the fact that bosses don't care about people, right? Businesses don't care about people. They can't care about the bottom line. Even after 3 years of working my butt off and bringing so much, like millions of dollars to the company, right? Didn't matter. So even though I just got married, 6 months into being married, I was out of my butt. No income for me or her. So we were unemployed. And then so I was like, I got to do something. And so I got an offer from Salvation Army, who knew that I was a youth worker, a volunteer youth worker at that time for about 4 years, while I worked 40 hours a week, right? Or 44 hours a week sometimes, because I did Saturdays sometimes. Said, hey, why don't you come work for us? Right? I said, okay, what's the pay? This is pay. Cool. So I left the church. I went and joined there. So when Amber asks me to come on the radio, and I worked for the Sallies for a year, played music, youth group, video editing, learned so much there, learned how to video edit, right? By being there. And because usually we were like doing in camera editing type thing, but this was actually editing, sweet. And because you had like the video setup, because one of the guys there was I don't remember his name, but he was like very technical. He was actually a professional, like editor, I think, if I remember right, in Auckland, right, for a company. And so he'd come here, he was part of the youth group and stuff. But anyway, so Amber says, okay, come. And so I go. And so we do this thing. And then afterwards, she comes back, goes to Matt, who's the manager of 116, where Beagle Radio, right? So where Beagle Radio is. And so I say, I do my bit. I said, well, what have we not, who are you? What are you? We talk just like I'm talking to everybody else now, right? Same thing, with our guests. Who are you? What are you? What are you about? And so I come out of it, and there's Matt there, and Emma goes, He's pretty good at talking. You know, you should ask him if he could do a show on here. And I go, he goes, well, he goes, would you like to? I go, sure, right? Remember, I've been depressed for 2 years and moping for 2 years and never, hardly ever coming out of bed unless I had to go shopping or go to dinner at my sister's. That's all I did in 2 years, right? And it was very depressing. And you know, and so with, you know, so she goes, you know, like I said, I'm out now, right? Like my sister goes, what do you love? You know, music and art. So I've got the comics, right? And so they go, so Matt goes, yeah, what do you know, would you like to? I goes, sure, I could do you know, geek out with Aru, you know, and I could talk about what I always, you know, what I like, which is like comics, pop culture, you know, interviews, uh, you know, people, films, music, you know, from around the world and stuff like that. And I did the show for I think about 6 months. And then when I was doing that, I had a friend who joined me who was on the spectrum, right? Uh, and I didn't handle things well. I can say that. It's like just sometimes when you know you you kind of like you know sometimes there's you know people when they're on the spectrum as you if you know if you know people on the spectrum you wires get crossed and you just can't think. But anyway, so after 6 months I was just like that was it. But however, I would like research like 3 hours or 2 hours for a 1 hour show. Was it 1 hour, 1.5 hour show, right? And and I would play videos on it. I'll you know on the because this is on the radio, so I could like play music off like YouTube, and it'll go into it and just be be just sound, not vision, right? So I'd put short interviews from other people. I would talk about the comics, movies, and stuff. And then I was doing that. I thought I like to play some heavy metal. So then I also did a 2 hour show, heavy metal, right? Geek out metal, right? On a Saturday night. So I did a Wednesday afternoon, and a Saturday night. And it got to, you know, just started, everything just started getting too much. And so I just, you know, basically thought, okay, you know, I carried on without my friend and the weekday one, like the geek out one. And then I carried on with excuse me. Then I carried on with the Saturday one. But the cool thing was I got guests on the Saturday one, and I got guests on the weekday one. So I got artists to come in and talk about stuff. I got students to come in and talk about stuff, you know, what they were doing. And I'll just go to events and I go, hey, got a radio show. Would you like to come on? Hey, got a heavy metal show. Would you like to come on? You know, and so we're able to just have fun with it. And you know, I got to meet so many amazing people. But that's only because I met Michael, right? It's only because I met Michael and he introduced me to his friends. And then those friends introduced me to other stuff, right? Connected me to other stuff. And then I was able to connect to other stuff. And the problem is here, and this is what I'm trying to get back to, is that when you're in a situation when you feel hopeless, you need to stop looking down, right? You need to figure out if you look outwards and you go, what is the world about? How are other people succeeding, right? Why are they, you know, doing stuff and how come they're happy? And you go, well, why don't you friggin' ask them, right? What's making you happy, man? I, you know, because I enjoy doing this. I enjoy talking to people. I enjoy comic books. I like reading them. I like to create them. I like to write them. I like to share them with people. I like to tell people about how much I love them, what the characters I enjoy, who's doing what. you know, and who's the creator, who's the artist on it, and you know how long they've been doing it, what other books they've got. That's me. So if you find someone who's into music and music is something, you go, hey man, how do you play a guitar? You know, or what should I? How do you get started? You know, what's easier to learn? Is it tablature or do I need to learn music? I use tabs, right? Meaning something like this. Let me put this up. Excuse me, I'm just going to step out and grab a my. But while that's happening, I'm just going to share the screen so I don't. I was going to grab my uh, keyboard because I realized I was running late, so I forgot to grab the keyboard. But this is words of wisdom from a good friend, Lyle. Hopefully, it's not too loud when I put it out. Um, who's an amazing person.
Normally for me, man, like I said, the most important thing, when it comes to not just collecting and when it comes to life in general, is the if you're passionate about something, definitely be 100% real about it. Embrace it. Um, don't compromise. Don't compromise, and don't become something because of someone else's influence. Stick to your guns. If you love it, be passionate about it, and be unapologetically into just connecting with it and letting people know this is where you are and this is who you are. Acceptance isn't you know worrying about someone accepting you is not your job. If they accept you, then that's half the battle. But just being more comfortable with who you are, you're comfortable in your space, and never compromising or wavering, because someone else says, well, that or someone once, tries to come in and just, take over your space or tell you what they think you should do. No, don't, no, never that. And I find that, and if you're more accepting of who you are, and if you're open about it, then that world opens as well. Never be ashamed of who you are. Never be ashamed of wanting to collect or wanting to share your collection with the world. Never be afraid to hide. Don't hide yourself. Don't internalize. Extend yourself. Externally. And put that energy out there, because when you do it, you're welcoming other people in. You're accepting that vibe, you're whatever you're putting out there, you're getting back. And I think people will appreciate you for it. And on top of that, you're influencing others to do the same thing. So I think that's important, man. If I had anything to say to anybody, it's just stand strong, ground yourself, stand firm, and believe in what it is that you're creating. Believe in, have a belief in what it is that you're passionate about, and stick to your guns. I would actually definitely say that, and enjoy life. The thing is, fun. Having fun has always got to be. It has to be at the forefront. Is having fun and being comfortable in that space. Everything else is a bonus. If you develop relationships, if you network with individuals, if something takes off, then that's definitely a bonus. Even if it doesn't, at least you can say that I've tried it, I've had fun with it, and that's it. You know what I mean? Create and surround yourself around people that are like-minded. That's it. Don't let the ills and spoils of someone else's opinion influence yours. So that's it.
I I when I was listening to him, because like you guys didn't see me, like I was like going when I was listening to him talk and stuff, I wasn't on screen, but I was agreeing with him, and I was like shocked because I had to realize what he like what he was actually saying. And because this is after 2 hours of us just chatting, and I've done this thing where like I always give the final words to the guest, because to say, share the last, what you think, is the most, whatever you want to share. And, I think that's sort of like something that we gotta, what Lyle says there, right? Lyle says there is that it's very important, and we've forgotten that. When we were in the 80s and 90s and 2000s, we believed in that. That was our, as a fan or whatever, as a person. That's how we've, like whenever somebody comes into a group, we'd welcome them, but we'll go, hey, what are you? What do you do? What's you about? Because you don't want to have anybody just jump in. And it's kind of like you're protecting your friends with someone new coming into it. And that those words really hit me hard that when I was listening to it on Sunday. And I just, I was amazed. I thought, like, why haven't I been thinking that way? What happened to me? And then I realized, like, it was because I've been so messed up, like, by what had happened last year with me, with being almost, people trying to cancel me. I was like, I wish I'd heard those words from Lyle then. If I had somebody like him come up and say, listen, right? It's not your job to worry about them. You just got to do what you got to do and stay true to that and to be true to yourself. And at the end of the day, I basically ended up finding that spot for myself, but it still hurt. And I think the joy people get from trying to cancel people is to see other people in misery, because those people themselves are miserable, pathetic human beings, right? Because, which is sad. And it's not because they can't be anything else. It's because they choose to stay in there. And I've done that myself. I've chosen to live in misery. Like I said, for 2 years, I moped and I was depressed, and I was rightfully allowed to be, because all my dreams and everything I had, I put into the shop, right, into the comic shop. And then to have somebody else basically do the same thing 6 months after, and the plate, like, fundraise is really small. I felt like totally defeated, because, like, it was like I've spent a whole year researching this thing. I didn't just put up a shop and go, yeah, I want to make money. It was like I've researched what would work. I looked at the best comic stores in the world and found out why were they best. Why did they work? So here's one thing I did, right? For women, for females, young kids to come into a comic shop, the first thing you gotta have is to smell nice, right? The place has to smell nice. You can't have stinky feet. You can't have BO, because girls will come and smell them, out they go. So now you don't have a community of females involved in your comic store, reading comics, buying comics, hanging out with the other people, right? Playing games, learning stuff. So my place, right? My comic store, small as it was, probably just a bit bigger than this apartment, right? Actually, about the size of this apartment, right? I think, yeah, it was pretty much a part, but and plus the lose. But excuse me. But I had young girls come into my store and stay for hours and play trading card games. I would sometimes sit down, the high school girls, I'd sit down and play with them if there was nobody else to play with them, right? Because it was like a home away from home for them. They could hang out with all their friends in a safe environment. Parents would drop their kids off, right? And when we played games in the evenings, they knew the kids were safe, because Big Brother Eats was there, right? Who you will meet in a couple of weeks, right? And he would talk about how he carried, from being a gamer to starting up a group in my store, to carrying that group on for the last 5 years, and especially the years I was moping, you know, away from everybody there. You know, became an island unto myself, while my friends, were saying, where have you been? Looking, what's going on in your life? because I just went away. That was it. From like online and stuff. So anyway, so I would have these girls there. I would have young kids there, high school, primary school kids, in my store. The reason for that was because I researched. I spent a year researching. You got to create an environment where there's no swearing, right? So parents can feel safe that their kids aren't going to get influenced by other people swearing and going home and going F, 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 right? So we had a swear jar, right? And everybody was happy with that, right? We had like, we had to make sure everybody was at no yelling, no fighting. It was, it was a small place, but, go hang out. There was like a whole parking area. You could just go yell, whatever do you want to do outside. But inside, yeah, it's all good. Now, I also had a can of air freshener and deodorant. So now when the boys came in after school, right, having run around all day, decided not to go home, comes to anything, I'll just stand there and go, right, shoes, spray the shoes. They were fine with that because they knew the rules. So a whole year of a nice smelling place, which made mom and dads come in, leave their kids, felt safe, and girls came in with their girlfriends, right, with their mates, classmates, with their boyfriends, right? Older people came in, right? Parents came with their kids. We had, I think it was Wednesday, Saturday night, I think Sunday night, sort of game nights. We had people, we had, Sean, Canadian, came in and said, hey, could we use the space to play D&D? And I go, sure, you guys look after it, right? So it became a community. So after that community, when the shop thanked, I was like depressed. I was like, but here's the thing. I was away from it, but the guys kept doing it. They've built so much bigger, they've pushed it to the limit now, they've created a business out of it, right? Card merchant, Whangarei, that's, franchise store, they bought into a franchise. We support our community, we support what's going on. And now, if I had not come out of my, decide to say, listen, I've had enough of this. I don't want to be miserable anymore. I choose not to be a loner anymore. And the weird thing, so I put a post out on what is now Plungecast, right? But that was my stores page, which is called Comic Trade, right? But when I decided to, when we did when we were doing Plunge a convention for the last 5 years, I'd use that as our universal kind of like our global sort of promotion thing, like our media thing, right? And that's how I saw that. So we just kept the name and just did that, but changed what it was about. Say, this used to be a former store, right? Brick and mortar store, but now, and it was a brick store, brick and mortar store, but but now we're just using it to promote Plunge and enterprises and the work we do there. So we don't. So if you go on Plungecast, right, on the page, you'll see all these photos going back all the way to 2015, and it's all the people that had fun and all the things we did. And even when the shop was going to be open, they were going, well, we should have a history about how we got this there. And so it comes up and goes, hey, dude, we were talking. We realized that all of us have photos that you took of what we did way back in 2015 and 14. Like, that's because we started in October 14 and ended in December 15, right? 2015. And I said, okay. So he goes, yeah, we were looking at it. It was like, okay, let's go. Cool, let's go do it. Yeah, And so he goes, dude, you got to go a long, long way back, right to the start to get it. I'm like, so we're there for probably about 10, 15 minutes, just going through freaking album, man. Like, if you look at it, right, if you look at that page on Plungecast on Facebook, right, one word, you'll see it. Let me grab it. It's just funny. I had to grab a couple photos of it, right? of Ethan yesterday, so so that I could have, where is this? So I could actually have an old photo of him with a new photo of him for the promo for when he comes on to the Fungeray, the Fungeray thing that we're doing, Fungeray Creative Invasion. It was, yeah, it's actually Punchcast NZ. Let me just grab it. I'll just grab the link so you guys can see it. But no, sorry, that's Plunge Studios. No, it is Punchcast NZ. My bad. We got a bunch of things we call Punchcast. So here's the link for it. But I'll show you this friggin' page. Right, this is. I looked at it last night because, like I said, I got to find its photo so I can make a promo. Right, so let's have a look. Stop sharing that screen, bring that screen, and right. So this is what it looks like now, right? So you got all this, so you can see this is the comic trade, kind of part of it. Why is that clipped up like? I don't know, but that's not a full. So we, let me find one, and that's actually done by another friend. Like, so this is that little, that little skull. Are we there? Right. Oops. Where are we? Where am I? Huh. Sorry, I disappeared. Hopefully you guys saw me. I didn't disappear. So if you can see that skull there, right? So that skull is done by Shane, right? So he had this really cool design. We made a t-shirt, and the boys lost a t-shirt, right? So I have no t-shirt of the actual artwork around it, which was like a whole bunch of like really cool, like Spider-Man and all that around the comic trade shop. It was a really cool logo. So this is Shane's artwork, right? So you guys will see a lot more of him when we do when we have him on Kiwi's Review Comics, hopefully every now and then, because he's a busy dude. He's an artist, professional artist, as well as a full-time, graphic designer, as well as a comic writer artist. So very busy, but we will have him on a Saturday or Sunday when he comes back from holiday at the moment. But so yeah, but we had an amazing little thing. So we go back, right? So you can see all these photos. So you can see this is when we, last photos I put up from, like, these are two very professional people. Both, one runs a charitable thing, and the other one runs the one with the pig head actually runs a Northern horror, right? And so you'll see, if you look on our channel, you'll see the video to this, right? This is Mark. We'll have Mark Kelly on something. I mean, so not Mark Kelly on something. I mean, Mark Kelly will be on our Saturday show as well when we do the Fungeray comics. So this is at my, I think this is this is 22. So this was last year at the Plunge Convention. So, young kid, and Nugget, look. So the reason I say Nugget, look, hopefully he's still around, is because Nugget did that, the caricature there, right? Hopefully he doesn't mind. Anyway, hopefully, yeah. But look, Nugget. So this is my team, right? That we work like, and now here's the weird thing. You go, oh, there's so many diverse people there, man. He must have gone out and chosen them specifically. No. See the gentleman in the brown, like next. Ethan's the one with the white hat, right? I didn't choose Ethan. Remember, I told you the story about how Ethan came to the shop and said, "Hey, can we play Yu-Gi-Oh here? I got some, I got some mates I play with," and boom, 60 people after, a couple of years later, right? So, right, I didn't go, oh, come and be, next to him is Jason. He used to come and hang out with the shop and stuff. He used to buy Pokemon cards, Yep. That's from the previous one with the caricature. That's what he's answering to. So so you'll see. Okay, let me just flash this over here. So the one, yeah. So you see next, this is Jason, right? Jason's actually has shaken baby syndrome. When he was 2 years old, he was shaken, right? As a baby, and that's if you know what that is, it's freaking terrible. So he's paralyzed on the left side of his body. But me and him hang out every Wednesday. We go shopping, go hang out. Dude, he just watches me buy crap, right? Stuff like stuff he's not into, but I'm into hard, right? But we're friends. So when I started Plunge, he just came in. He just said, "Hey, I'd like to be part of it." We'd only known each other by the shop for that, like the 14 months, 15 months the shop was open. Didn't see him for 2 years, right? Almost 3 years, because I want to be a part of it, right? Then you've got Lynette, who's dressed up as Incredible there, my original character, right? You see her all over, all over our Plunge cast, here on YouTube, right? With the chibi, right? Right. So you see her with the chibi, right? So Lynette's a cosplayer. So I said, hey, wanna like cosplay, and help us out, run the event on the cosplay side, and sure, right? Shane's there with the red t-shirt, right? Like I said, artists knew him in the 90s when I was at art school. That's all. But when we started the comic shop, he came and hung out, and then he said, "Hey, I do art. Can I hang some art up?" I said, "Sure, dude." And the weird thing was, I didn't remember that, but then I was looking for Ethan's picture, and there was a piece of his artwork at the back, like just a corner of it showing. I was like, "Oh, that's right. Where's that? It's Shane's artwork in the friggin' store, in the same room they played friggin' they played D&D and Yu-Gi-Oh and Pokemon and stuff in every couple of days, right? Or every day that the shop was open." I'd forgotten that. But not only that, we opened that sort of thing up to other artists where they could come and sell their artwork. Some of them I still have, but they, I would have they have a folder there. I actually bought the folder myself, right? Put their artwork in the sleeves and said, "Here, this is such and such an artwork. Would you be interested in supporting local artists?" Right? We actually invited artists from another city, and we were able to get a grant to bring them to Whangarei, and they said, "Oh, don't worry about the petrol, we'll just take us out for dinner." So I did, right? We spent a couple $100 taking them out to a Thai restaurant. There's about something like about 12 of them, if I remember right. And that's Drawfest Auckland, right? So, and then you've got Mark, right? Mark, you saw like he was interviewing, the nun, right? However, last year, or was it this year? I think it might have been early this year. Mark, like when we, like in 2019 or 2018, 2019, I think is when we did our first podcast, like Plunge. So Andrew, in 2019, I reached out to Andrew to do our technical stuff, right? Our podcast, it's kind of like interviews and stuff. So he did that, and then he did that a year after, and then I think the year after that, Mark come and hung out, at the event. Mark is a musician, right? He's a death metal vocalist, if I remember right? So he has a band, or used to have a band, right? And they actually released an album as well. So I'm going to put on an interview. Like I said, he runs his own podcast, right? So I'm not going to use his podcast, but I am going to give you a link to it because I want you guys to, support him. But I don't want to take away from what he does, because it's. But I do have him interviewing the nun, and I think I'll put that on because I just need to take a break for a second. And while you guys watch that, I will I'll take a quick break, but you guys can. I'm gonna. This is the link to his page on Facebook. This is their podcast, and they've invested. Like, Mike is about professionalism, right? And Northern Artist Conversations, right? Mike is about professionalism, and so he invested a lot into this with his team. Like their setup, right? Their setup is like Joe Rogan. So imagine the amount of money Joe Rogan's setup is. Basically, that's what Mike has done. So I'd like you guys to support him as much as possible. And if later on, you guys can support me as well by supporting our artists since I'm talking about support, on Patreon. And I'm going to show you some comic art later in regards to that. But I'm gonna take a quick break, and I'm going to. So this is our Patreon for mature stuff, right? It's not for all ages, and it's for mature stuff. And so when you you won't be allowed in if you're underage. It's like nightclubs. And no, I don't think you get like a fake ID card to get in, right? To Patreon, or maybe I don't know, but I'd rather you guys didn't. So that is, this is their setup, and I'm gonna just let me see if he's got a little intro for what they do. Is it the big ones? Oh yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna play the intro. Yeah, dude. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, the man himself, RTV. Welcome to the party. If you want to come hang out, I'll send you a link. But I am going to play this introduction for my mates, right? Like I said, I know these people, right? They work, they basically work for me. I paid them to work for me, right? And but they're also good friends of mine, and and they spent years doing stuff for free, and then you know they went professional. And listen, if people invest money into their work, then you should treat them like professional, and and so on. But let me just put them on full, and I'm gonna like take a break, and I'll be back in about as soon as this finishes. I'll be back, but please, check their site out. Let's go full. All right, I will see you soon. Oh, I got to play it over the other place.
Hello and welcome to the Northland Artist Conversation. My name is Mark Kelly. I'll be your host. I have alongside me Andrew McKenzie, who is my co-host. Andrew, lovely to have you here today.
Yeah, cool to be here, man. Really cool.
I really appreciate you taking the time. Today, Andrew and I are going to talk with you about the Northland Artist Conversation, who we are, what we do, what we're going to be doing regionally, and how we're going to try and help the artistic community as a whole. I think it's first and most importantly that we sort of start off with a little bit of the background, a little bit of history,
sure,
how
man.
we got here. So last year around July, Andrew and I worked together on a project. And we had an amazing time together, and we got some incredibly positive feedback. And what that did is that actually started the process for developing the Northern Artist Conversation. As a creative person myself, and Andrew, you're obviously creative as well.
Yeah, for sure, man.
We wanted to have a format and a way to be able to talk with our artists and learn about them, understand them more, figure out who they are, what makes them tick, and what things they've got coming up. Because, you know, there are lots of different little areas that you can connect with people, but having one centralized voice is going to be a huge help. And you as the audience are going to benefit from this as well, because you're going to be able to learn more about the artist, things you may not have known, like who their influences are and how they ended up in their chosen medium. I'm going to take a little bit of time to sort of talk about the team that is going to be helping lead and build this podcast and help it grow. We're going to get into the different topics and why they're important. We're going to talk about the different types of artists and what fields they do, and then how you, the audience, can reach out and connect with us via social media and all of that sort of good stuff. So, as I said, my name is Mark Kelly. My background is I have been an actor, a musician. I've done some directing and some screenwriting. And I the reason I wanted to do this is because this is an opportunity for me to give back, to actually connect with people and learn more about things. Now, Andrew, you obviously have your own background as well. What is your journey?
Yeah, for sure. So I've been doing music pretty much all of my life. I work with my own local hip hop collective called OBC. I also work with a wider collective called Resolute Music Collective, and I've also in 2016 I started Low Budget Brotherhood, which is like a initiative for local artists and artists across the country to kind of get a leg up through promotion and music videos and stuff like that. So.
And helping people out is kind of really what you've been doing.
Yeah, exactly. I was about to say.
Yeah, and that's where we are with this podcast. Now, there's also a third member. There's a third member of the team that you're never going to see in front of the camera, but he is currently behind the scenes making sure that this is all going smoothly. Now, Andrew, you introduced me to this person, so
yes.
it seems appropriate that you sort of talk about him.
Yeah, so it's my good friend Rocky Stevenson. He worked with me at Low Budget Brotherhood, primarily as a cameraman initially, but kind of worked his way into directing and editing as well, which is really cool. Took a lot of the load off me, and so he's really good at what he does as well. So
now, Rocky, it would be fair to say Rocky's probably got more of a technical background, right?
Yeah.
Excellent. So between myself, Andrew, and Rocky, who is behind the camera at the moment, this is going to be an amazing journey, and I am looking forward to sharing it all with you. We're breaking it down into 4 key parts. We're going to
All right. Am I back? I'm back. All right. So as you heard, right, and so those guys, professional, right? They take what, they're amazing people, right? The weird thing was that Mark wanted me to be a part of that. I didn't understand what he was talking about and what he was setting up. And I was just like, nah, man, it's not this, and then he just, he just did it. And I'm like, oh, wow, look at what it was awesome. But, and my nephew this weekend, right? Because I only see my family, my sister's family and my nephews and nieces once a week or once a month, because it's like a ritual we have, like at least once a month that I have, right? At least once a month, I need to see them, right? I need to hang out with them. I need to be level-headed once again, right? I need to be grounded, is what I'm trying to say. And they are who I feel like I'm grounded by. Of course, I've got my friends as well, but it's like it's different when you have younger kids, right? That are part of your family members, like nephews and nieces, and you have to like go from here to here mentally, not about intelligence, but just kind of like let down, like kind of like release a bit of stress out, like, you know, like a balloon, right? You get all this balloon, and you're like, I've been doing all this stuff all week, and then you go hang out with your niece and nephew. What you been doing, man? Like, yeah, um, you know, all that's gone. That stress is just gone, and I love that. I love just to hang out with them, and like, my nephew said, "Well, why don't you go do that with them?" I was like, said, look, me, after doing a live stream, my back hurts. I just go lie down in my bed. I turn YouTube on, or TV on, or whatever, manga, anime on, cartoons. I just watch that for a couple of hours while my body settles back into normality. So top out like about 2 hours, 2.5 hours, maybe 3 hours max. I can just make it at 3 hours, where then that just gets too much. So, but like if I was doing something with like Mark, because I've given it a lot of thought after, it's like, that means that Mark has to come and pick me up, or I have to get a taxi there and back. What if the taxi isn't there when I got to go help? Right? Now I'm on his time, not on my own time, on his time. And I think this is why I love this. I love this because, sorry, I've got this here. I'm going to show you some amazing stuff soon. So, you know, so this allows me, because I'm in a single bedroom apartment, right? Studio apartment, I should say. So my bed's there. My TV's here. My kitchen's there. My bathroom was just around the corner, right? And this is my lounge, right? So if I feel sore, which I'm kind of starting to, I will just go lie down in my bed and not worry about, hey man, can you take me home? Oh, hey, taxi. You know, this allows me not to put anybody else under stress, or put anybody else under commitment to me, right? And I love this fact that, and this is the joy of why I think we are in the best generation technically ever. And you can learn so much just because of YouTube now. You could become a professional friggin' musician without paying anybody to teach you, right? And I want to show you this video. So I don't know what I was doing, right? I was like just lying in bed watching anime. Yeah, actually, it was at the end of an anime, right? It was the end of an anime, and the anime was, I think it's called Garden of something. Let me find it. I think, gosh, where are you, IMDb? Here we are. Garden of I don't know, something. Gosh, dang it. The Garden of Evil or something like that? No, it can't be Garden of Evil. Anyway, so music came on, right? Like I'm watching this whole thing, it's ending, it's going on, and I'm going in my head, right? Because I'm learning bass now, right? Because I've got my Jackson there. Weird thing is, like, the only reason I bought a Jackson is because Megadeth, my favorite band in the world, right? I kind of like sometimes waver because it could be like I Maiden, you know, or Alice in Chains, but like my first true love, right? I think is like Megadeth and Dave Mustaine, right? I have this attitude. So I bought a Jackson just because I'm right, but I used to play bass when I was in my teens. So I'm watching anime, right? And that it's ending and that comes in my head. So I go, isn't that Testament? You know, because I used to have the album, right? So I go, isn't that Testament? You know? So I go, all right, okay, let's maybe go have a look on YouTube and see if it is or if it isn't. And this is what I mean by how amazing time we live in, right? So I go, okay, let's check it out. And so, of course, I'm playing bass, so I'm going to go, okay, let's, let's look at them. Why am I always clipping myself out? It's weird. All right. Hopefully you were able to hear me through that. I'm not sure. And it's got to do with it's a supernatural series. So it's where it has this amazing piece about disability. Like, this is why I love anime, right? It just does things without trying to do things, right? There's a moment in this episode, I like this because it's movies. They're all movies. They're not they're like 50-minute movies. They're not some of them are 2-part movies. So it'd be like a, hour and 40 minutes all up or something like that. But I don't know, something. I'm sure I'll find it. I think I was trying to put up I was going to make a little clip video about this one little bit. And she, it's a weird way. They do like the second episode as the first story. So the second one, or the first one, I think it's the first one, where she has hurt her arm. And the arm is she does there's a disability, she's got no arm, right? I mean, this forearm, she's got no forearm. It's not there because it's getting fixed by her friend who's like a doll maker, right? Robotics. So, and this is a supernatural series, right? So so she goes home with the arm, right? And like I said, my friend earlier, fuck, shit, why am I crying? I'm sorry, guys. Because I was watching that damn thing and I just realized how difficult it would be for my friend, because I always treat him like a normal person. Like, I don't see him as handicapped. I don't see him as disabled, because he's just friggin' amazing. And he's learned from all through his life as a shaken baby to be able to handle anything that comes to him. So I'm watching this, and there's a lady goes home. I can't remember her name. And she goes home and goes to her apartment. Right? Remember, this is anime. She goes home. She gets, she uses her hand, gets the ice cream out. There's a whole story about the ice cream. And she sits down. She grabs a spoon, sits down. And I can't remember if she puts a spoon in her mouth and still holding a tub of ice cream. So it's like a little tub, right? The little ones we used to get in Fiji. It's like tip-top ones. I'm not sure if you guys get it elsewhere, but we still get them here in New Zealand. Movenpick, I think it's Moven. But anyway, little tubs of ice cream, right? And remember, she's got no freaking left forearm, right? No hand, no fingers. And so she puts it down between her legs, right? She puts it down between her legs after ripping, because remember, no two hands. So she's ripping the tab off to get the lid off, right? And so she puts it there, and then she gets her spoon and she's scraping and struggling to scrape. No, it's definitely something with garden, but not Violet Evergreen. I love that show, man. That's amazing. But yeah, I can see why you think it's that one. But this is a supernatural one, not the robot one, and it's nothing to do with the war either. But do check that one out. Thank you for doing that. I love that. I really love Violet Evergreen. That makes me, hits my emotional spots, whatever you want to call it, my feels, right? But so she's I just thought, and I was like, this is how tough it is for my friend, one of my best friends, that I don't even think about the fact he's only got one hand to use to do everything with. And yeah, it just hit me. And I told him that the next day, I think it was because I'm up all night, right? Because I have like a I go to sleep around about like 8 o'clock in the morning, something like that, or 5 o'clock in the morning, and I'll sleep for 2 hours. For 2-3 days I'll sleep for 2 hours, and another day I'll sleep for 10. So it kind of makes up, but just the way I've become. So I'll have about 3 hours sleep, or 5 hours sleep, or 3 hours sleep, or 2 hours sleep, or 4 hours sleep, depending on how I feel that day. So I tell him this, and for him it's like nothing, but I'm like, for me, I'm like, it woke me up, man. Like I'm like, I've been, and not that I've treated him any different, but for me, by seeing that visually in my friggin' eyes, just you know, not having a hand and having to use your thighs to hold a tub of ice cream, and I'm thinking that's got to be cold, man, right? But she's scraping it, like, because she's trying to, you can't, like, when you hold it with your hand, you can go, you can turn it so you can get it right. But when you only got one hand, you can't really do that. So, yeah, I was like, dude. And, but yeah, sorry about the segue there, but I just, but that was the thing that got me to think about, because that's the way my brain works. Like, I mean, I'm sure everybody's brain works like that. If a tune comes to their head because they're doing something else. And that's how, dreams work for me. And I wake up and I write a story expanding on the dream that I've had, or like a line of text that as I've mentioned before, like a sentence would give me an idea to create an entire story from, right? So let's play this cool little thing. Just gonna. All right, I don't want to get done for copyright infringement or whatever, but this is a link to that, right? The video, so you can watch the rest of it. And imagine having that, like me. Imagine I had that when I got my first bass at about 20. I paid one of the guys that I saw at a concert to teach me, right? For a couple of times, like about 3-4 times. And after that, I just couldn't be bothered learning. But imagine I could have that on anytime I wanted, and I could watch that while I was at work. And when I was with my friends, I could just go, hey, I could play on my bass, and I learn how to, get my fingers right and stuff. And how quickly I'll be able to learn how to be a musician with an instrument of my choice. And this is what I say when I talk about how great it is to be alive right now, and how sad it is that we still feel hopeless because of it, because we're human beings. But we get so caught up in looking down all the time, we don't see the wonders around us, and especially technology. And I find it really sad, like I mentioned, about being, people trying to cancel me, for basically, which, Nugget put aptly, for this crime. Right? So for asking someone who was fluent in 2 languages, so I could be helped, so I could get help to be able to think. But anyway, I was actually talking to a guy at the rock shop about how, and he didn't even know who Chesterman was, right, or the song. And probably about my age. And I was like, I've listened to so many types of metal over the years, as well as hip hop and pop and all that. But I love metal for, because there's so much diversity in it. And the fact is, there's no N words in it, because I just hate hearing it in my head. There is no like, these guys are just there. You get me? They're just on stage playing. Not there to prove anything. They're just great musicians. They've got fans, right? That's it. So I just find it interesting that that's what drew me to metal. I think it was just Iron Maiden just having that stage and the songs and lyrics. What's the words with like storytelling, right? I'm all about storytelling. So I think, that kind of like, enforced my the fact that I had comic books, but now I had like Iron Maiden writing songs about them, Ancient Mariner, right? Power Slave, Trooper, Murders in a Rue Morgue, stuff like that. Phantom of the Opera, right? All these things, and I'm like learning about them. And while I'm doing that, I'm listening to all these amazing music, and I'm thinking, it'd be cool to play that, get an instrument, And so in those days, we only had to. The only way you could get a tab was to get a magazine with the tabs in it, and you didn't know if it was correct or not, but they were there. But now you can actually watch people playing it, and you can learn it, and not only one person, right? Everybody from around the world. Now you could have a band from Indonesia, right? Playing something like metal, while you could have a band from India playing metal, or you could have a band from Korea, right? So Indonesian metal band, right? Metal Girl. Let's do that one. So I love these guys. So let me just quickly put this on. I want to get you guys to experience some culture here, metal culture here, right? So let me get rid of this and stop that. Bring up the girls. Bring out the girls. All right. This is Voice of Vesper. All right. Can I go side? Yeah, we go. Ladies and gentlemen, Voice of Vesper.
Why today many perceptions have become toxic? Why today many people wear religion to kill the music? I feel like I am falling, pushed down, swallowed by the crowd. I'm not a criminal, I'm not the enemy. I just wanna sing a song to show my soul. I'm not the corrupter, I'm not the enemy. I just wanna sing a song to show my soul.
All right. Don't want to get hit with the friggin' another, but Voice of Vesper, Indonesian girl band, metal girl band, right? It's I haven't subscribed. I think I subscribed on the other one. All right. So, check them out. I like it because I can hear the words, right? It's pretty cool. I like the fact that I can hear the words. And and that's something that me and Mark have, but we'll talk about that when Mark and I will talk about death metal and him being a death metal singer and now being a podcaster and stuff. Okay, so what was I was trying to find that one, but like, so let's segue into toys. All right, let's do some toys. Because toys, I had some amazing things happen that I like things. Purchases and some shares of toys this last couple of weeks. It took me 2 weeks to pay it off because it was an expensive buy, and I wanted to make sure that I paid it off. I had the money to buy it and stuff, and it was cool. So now, if you watched our toy unboxing, the other week I showed off this lot, right? All these Marvel, Star Wars, excuse me, pardon me, and DC, right? Figures. What's his name? But yeah, right. So you got Death Metal, Wonder Woman. So this was from right. So this was a separate purchase, and it was just basically the headless figures, right? So you got She-Hulk, no head, right? This dude. So those males and females, right? No hands. So the reason being for that, and of course there was a couple wrestling figures in there, and right. So what happened then was, I know one of my good friends. He does. He's a customizer. That's the word. He's a customizer. So he has heads, right? How do I put this? Okay, hold on. So I'll put it. It's probably easier to just put it back in the bag so you can see. So he sent, so he said, okay, I said to him, look, I need heads for all these figures I've just bought. There's about 24 of them, and I need to figure out, what, if you send me all your heads you've got, and he said, oh, I've got these heads. I said, look, man, the best way is like, send it to me, and I will pay, I'll pay for the sending, and then once I figure out which heads I want to keep for all these weird little headless figures I've bought, because the person who I bought these off is a customizer himself, and he just wanted the heads. So imagine the amount of money spent on these, right? Just for the head. But hey, I'm buying the figures without the heads, right? So this is how it is. Now, so we've got all these, you got, whoops. So we got all these, like 24 figures without a head. So I got to figure out, right? Of course, these got to be like put in hot water so they're a bit more flimsy. So I could actually have, if I want to be silly, but I'm not going to. So, or get over there. So, or, just for the hell of it. But there are some awesome ones. I think, who's this guy? I don't know who this guy is. Do you guys know who this guy is? So you're allowed to comment and answer questions, ask questions. So this is, of course, what's her name? Wanda, right? Wanda Maximoff, right? Magneto's daughter. So easily put that on her, right? But like I said, like I have a lot of, I don't want to use that word, but I have a lot of heads, right? So I think there's around about gosh, dozen, six dozen, probably about 3 dozen skulls, heads here. So I've got these. I've got 3 of these wonderful, cerebral, right? Right, Professor X, and so there's also this pretty cool one. Right? We could, you could basically take that skull off and put on somebody else as a skull. So, and the other thing is, of course, my friend knows that I like red hair. Reason being is red-headed characters. Reason being is, of course, my Incredible character. Right. So the idea was here to find out, what characters would look really cool if I was to recustomize them as Incredible, because I've looked into actually getting my own, like I'm saying, my red hair, getting my own. This would be perfect actually for Incredible. So look at that. So if am I doing it wrong? Let's hold it properly. So there. So if I was to do Incredible, I could use her and put a mask, right? Because look at the hair. It's facing the right friggin' way as well. Don't know who this character is. Maybe it's Jean Grey? Yeah. So I could basically have my own character, right? Created through all these fodder and all these amazingly different figures, right? So you got figures like this. I don't know who's that from. This is from. I can't even see. Is that a DC Marvel? Or... Anyway, oh look, didn't realize, but didn't realize, but there's there's a knife in here along with the other one, so I gotta go make sure. Oh, there's one missing, I think. No, there's 3 on set. Yep, that I don't lose the blades. So I don't know who this character is, but I could do with you guys answering the questions. So I could actually figure out what that is. But otherwise, I guess I could try another time. But I like this one, so I said to him, man, I need a whole bunch of these characters because actually, you know what? I just realized my Zoolandia Zoolandia universe that I'm building, which is, let me just grab it. I'll show you guys the Zoolandia comic book and board game that I'm looking at creating. I've finished the outline for it, like how the board game's going to work, and so because of that, I was able to. Yeah, I was like, I don't know, I can't remember what it was, how I figured it out, because I was having a hard time trying to figure it out. Right. Let me get to the home page. Right. So I was trying to figure out how to make Zoolandia work as a board game. What are the rules? I want it to be easy, not easy, but I want it to be a combination of Monopoly, Risk, and something. There's supposed to be something like D&D, right? So I figured out the rules to how I'm going to make this game work. But why I'm saying that is because it's like a isekai type thing, and it's also a mix of like Narnia. So you could walk into air, and like you could walk into a spot of air and whatever, an area around you, and you could walk into Zoolandia, right? And so let me see, let me show you. So yeah, so yep, finally worked it out, right? What it's going to be and how it's going to do it, and the board game's got Final Dawn, right? That's the board game. comic book and board game. You know, and so I figured out how that, like, what is a storyline? What is gonna make this thing different? Because I'm about story, right? Story first is always what when I'm talking about characters. So one of the characters is actually a schoolgirl, high school girl. So I thought that's what I was saying. Like, wait, this is what I'll just make. You know, change the color scheme, right? Customize it. You know, change the hair if I have one. Well, otherwise, I have to just wait until I get another one. And actually, isn't it? I think that's her normal hair, isn't it? Isn't it part of that? The cuckoos. But I probably, you know, maybe go for that. I don't know if she's got her glasses. Actually, I could, because I haven't finished the story about her, but I have done the first issue. But I could give her glasses now. So I actually then could have my character ready to go, because she's the first story I wrote is now I've forgotten her name. What's her name? I forgot. Sorry guys, I forgot. I might find it later. I'll put a video on it. We'll go look for it. But yeah, so now I could just have her like that, right? I could have a character now. So I'm gonna put that aside. I'm gonna see. All right, I could create. I have just created a character, original figure character for my Zoolandia, comic book and game book, right? So the idea behind Zoolandia is that, like I said, you could walk into a space, and in front of you, and you'd be there. You could walk into a cave, and you could be there. You could walk, or you could like die and be there, right? Get hit by a car, like this, okay, right? Or you walk into the ocean, you could be there, right? And it's kind of like I'm trying to when I'm writing this, I'm kind of like going back on my experiences I've had, like little short things, like where I nearly drowned in a friggin' creek during because there had been a huge storm, and I nearly got stuck inside the friggin' creek as an 8-year-old kid, right? Because there was wood there stopping me from going through. So I could say, well, when that happens, now you're in another world. You're in Zealandia. So that is that's a concept of Zealandia. But like the other thing, I'm going to show you the map of Zealandia. Right. So I created a map of it, and I put out last year when we were doing this, September 3rd, I put out this map, the final map of it. And you find out who lives where. You got like dwarves and all that, and mermaids point. You've got demi-humans, you've got giants. What else you got? This is where the shield comes from. King Alfred rules here. Alford. All right, you got forest elves. All right, you got Demon City. Indus humans, which is brown skin, dwell here. The seafaring. Right. You got treacherous land where the black wyverns dwell. All this stuff. Dragons dwell here. So it's there, and I'm not rushing into it. I got a 5-year plan to get my comics out, so I'm looking at about 6 to 10 comics, but the comics are standalone stories, right? So they kind of tie into each other, but each characters are there. So it kind of like you go from one book to another book, but it's but it's not like it's like crossover series. It just goes into the next character. So the idea is that you have all these books that tell you about the character. So when you play the game, you already know the character. It's like, how you build your character in D&D? You got tick that off, he does this, tick that off. However, in Zoolandia, you've already known what the character's like by reading the comic book. So when you go in, and even if your friends haven't read it, you just go, here, read the damn comic book. Now you know my character, right? What's her background, how they got there, you know, who she is, what's her family like, all that's going to be in that one issue, right? So I've already done the first issue of that, of the comic book for Zealandia. Like I said, I can't remember the name of it because I write so many stuff and I'm doing so many shit. Excuse the language. But yeah, so that's Zealandia. But I'm just so excited. Now we're gonna I actually have an original character that is a toy that I will change the colors, right? And paint it all up, all different. And now she will be the character, the lead character of that book. So the other thing is I think, oh, is this? I don't know who this is, but this is a cool figure as well. So, you know, like I said, I'm just trying to customize so I can build, stuff for me. And right, that's cool. Not sure if that's supposed to be who they're supposed to be, but yeah. For me, it doesn't really matter if it's the same character or not, with the body, because hey, it's the head, right? We just want them to look like this, that thing. Right? I wonder if this is supposed to be for this character. Well, she looks cool in that, right? I kind of feel like that is actually a wrestling character, right? Yeah. But so that we'll put aside for her. Now, you could easily put that on her. That'll be fine. Look at that. The skin tone's right. This is what I'm actually working on. I'm actually working on the skin tone, right? Let me get rid of that one. And so yeah, so I'm trying to make sure that the skin tone is right. So that works for that as well. Actually, oh, as I was saying, like I was trying to show before while that was on, this is sake. There's Gekikan sake, and of course, it's got to be drunk in a ceramic cup. So this is a sushi, ceramics, like china, ceramic, whatever, pottery. I actually am a ceramic sculptor, by the way, as well. I've done 4 already for this. Like I want to do like a 24 of them, but I've only done 4 in the last 5 years. So that will go on there. Now, I can carry on with all that, but I want to show you guys some comics, like updated comic art, and share some stuff from not only in Creator Girl, because I got another page in this week, which our backers have already seen a panel of, because I don't want to show the whole page because I don't want to ruin it. But I sent them a panel and said, hey, this is a panel from that. So I will put on something while I go look for it. Give me a sec. Something cool, something very cool. Because right, okay. So let's see. Oh, that's cool. Excellent. What's the date today? Today's Thursday. All right. Tomorrow we have a toys unboxing. Toys collecting unboxing with Big Stu from America down in Texas, and then we've got Hulk, the CEO of Rising Sun Comics, will be on, and we just shoot the breeze, like they say, and he'll be in LA, so it's like about 2-hour time difference between the two of them, but like a 12-hour or is it 24 hours, I think, time difference between us, but we'll we're here in New Zealand, always in the future. To everybody else, I guess, elsewhere. Where is it? Hold on. There's this really cool thing I wanted to show you guys. There we go. Question is, will I have enough time while I show you this to be able to grab it? Ooh. Yeah. We had the we had. Oh yeah, I will get you India. Actually, I'll set that up for next. It was I actually watched a documentary on the guys. They were pretty cool. What the hell are they called now? Damn it! I'll have to go Indian metal and see if we can find them that way. Yeah. Cool. All right. So what I will do is I will put on some music, and hopefully they don't, nail me. But I was supposed to get these. I supported them on Patreon and got the entire set when I was doing the radio thing. So guys, I actually did support you. So don't please think my for whatever copyright or something. But is it Are? I like Are. Oh no, this is better. This one's cool. It's long, but we'll probably just do a bit of it. So hey, thanks for reminding me, by the way, Nugget. Right. Yeah, that one, that was the thing. So they were basically saying, look, let us, it's kind of like metal has this is very inclusive, and a lot of people don't understand that metal is accepting of everybody, but they don't like posers. I don't like posers. So if if you're into something, we'll help you get into it hard. We'll tell you everything that's everything they've done, right? Everything that's in that genre. You go, oh, try out this, try that, try that, try. And then you'll come to something that you enjoy, and then you'll be, yeah, I'm into that. Now I love this. Cool. But that's also applies to the fact that around the world, there are people of all the cultures who love that shit, like me, right? I got into metal, like, I think the first thing I heard was Queen, and of course it's rock, right? But that was my journey, and then on to I have I bought death metal albums, right? Like Obituary, right? Right. But I also had glam metal, right? I had stuff like really soft, like Extreme, Poison. God, what was that other one? Cherry, something Cherry, and it was like rock, metal band for like for rock metal music for lovers, kind of couples, Cherry. Gosh, I can't remember. Yeah, it was because I used to buy music all the time. I just like never stopped buying music, all right? And it's just something that I just, it's just like passionate. Like when you're passionate about something, you just give it, get into it hard. And that's what I think. That's what that's what fandom's all about. That's what sharing your passion's all about. And I think it's important to be able to share culture, and it's important to be able to mix it up, right? And I mean, like, hey, you like death metal? Maybe you like melodic metal. Maybe you like thrash metal. So if you get stuck into the one thing, it can be quite depressing, right? If you only consume one ice cream, you'll get tired of it very quick, right? If you're eating like freaking chocolate ice cream all the time, it just gets gross after a while. You know, and you're like, oh, okay, something else. So it's the same as, you know, with anything. Like, so, you know, but the problem with like, you know, a lot of people find like, I say, oh, metal's so depressing, you know, it's always angry. But they never look at the lyrics and they never listen to what is being said and how it's being said, you know, and I think that's what causes this whole rift between parents and, you know, and kids. And they go, oh, you're just rebelling. But, you know, if parents actually sit down and said, what is it about this music that you enjoy, you know, or what are in the lyrics that you know, think? And I think that's the conversations you've got to have as kids with, you know, like parents with your kids, if your kids are into metal or whatever music. But, you know, I think, you know, there are some extremes. You just got to be aware of that. But, you know, there's so much cool stuff out here. And I just enjoy it so much. So here's one.
Now I'm sat back, poking at the big bubble, say talk back. You're bigger than the truck.
So that's Bollywood. And they got invited to Wacken. I think it is Wacken. Let's go have a look at so Wacken Metal Festival, right? And you is it Germany? Am I wrong? I'll find it in a second. Give me 1 sec, guys. So, you know, these guys were just doing, you know, YouTube channel, doing the thing, set up the Patreon, and people supported them, you know, and helped them to, you know, get as well known as they are. And I think this is the joy, like this is the power of the good thing about the internet, right? And so you can either use technology for good or evil, right? In the end, you can. That's how it is, right? So I am going to. So there's a documentary called Rage Against the Machine, right? It's on their. It is on their YouTube channel, so you can watch that documentary there. I watched it. It was awesome, man. Like I just because, like I said, I've supported these guys on Patreon, you know, way back, and seeing their journey, you know, to the most, you know, kind of like the ultimate, you know, European metal fest, all right? Whacking. And see them play the 2019, right? A year after I learned about them, and to see them, and I'd only watched the video last year. I didn't even realize they'd gotten there. But if YouTube wasn't there, I would know, right? And I think this is a problem, like that we have this amazing thing that is called YouTube and called the internet that is so powerful to do good through. But a lot of times, the control over it, the bans and stuff like that, like people having the entire revenue turned off. Those who've actually got to a point where they do it full time and they're able to live off it, and suddenly they're gone. That power shouldn't be in the hands of a few, and I think that's what cancel culture is about. It's power in the hands of few. And so it's the few loud that are trying to create, the sort of like, toxicity, the real toxicity. That is what's toxic. Little loud mouths on the internet and social media, through social media, causing destruction to people's livelihoods and lives. And like I said, I've had that. This is the whole point of, I decided to do this one because I've had that happen to me. But I want to play this little video from Wacken and these guys being there in 2019 at the Open Air Festival, right? This is Machi Basad. Basad? What does that mean? Yeah. It was swearing.
Walking, are you ready?
Check it out. And that guitar.
Get on the attack, become a generation of breaking down. Someone think about me. Hey, okay, what? Really got who's talking? Break now. Ooh. Who's willing to try to take a big shot at the big boys? I'm back. Big boys, shake it up, I got the big toys. Very close with the best of the rest. Got the power by the neck and put it to the chest. No side on my bulletproof vest. Talk to my heart so I never got yes. Kill those who came before. Till what is yet to come. Know what you fight for. It's why we go to war. Someone think about me. What?
Dude, I love that tone. that friggin' I want that tone. And if you, it's like I was talking to one of the gentlemen at the rock shop, right? Matt wasn't there, my friend, who's a bassist for his band Swamp Pig. All right, let me see if I can find him. And like I said, back in the day, I actually had them, had them on my Swamp Pig, Swamp Pig. Is there one word? No, that's not it. Insert bands. Oh, it's not there. I'm gonna have to hassle him and say, hey, get something on YouTube. Maybe I spelled it wrong. But let me find it on Facebook quickly if I can. And we'll go from there. But so you can see, right? Like you can see how inclusive metal is. This is why I love it, because like I've been into metal for over 35 years. And I just think it's the bee's knees, if you want to say it like that. Yeah, it's the best thing. And let me find this, if I can find this room, Matt. Where's your band, Matt? Right, so he plays for a couple bands. So one of them is Moondog Blues, and what else? And the other one is Wavepick. Sorry, that's me like spazzing out because I spelled the friggin' name. It's Wavepick, not Swamp Pig. It's Wave friggin' Pig. Gosh, it sucks. But anyway, they're releasing an album, right? And I just, they're punk band, and I've seen them live. They're cool, and like I say, we've been friends as well. And I just can't seem to find the friggin'. Hold on, let me find it again on Facebook. And they've got a merch store, so you can go check it out there. So this is their website, and let me see if I can find any music there. Yeah, hey. Is there any music? I love their shirts, by the way. Let's have a look at the shirts, right? And I'll try to find some music soon. I'm supposed to be sent the EP, but soon, like to listen to. And is it EP or I think it's an album to listen to, which was supposed to come out a while back, but thanks to lockdowns and COVID and all that, it got put off, and so they're basically behind for a while, and it kind of sucks because these guys deserve to be known more, and especially for the quality of music they play and stuff. Wait, so let me see. All right, I found a bit of like a clip from them, so sorry about taking so long. So, but it's just like I said, they're just getting them their album out and getting sorted. So let's this is a bit of them doing some mixing of it, and Let's see if we can find any more things. Roasted days. Weird. It's only in one ear. Oh, is it just a bit? Excuse me. Oh, I know what's happening. Sorry. Apologies for that. It bounced onto another screen. It was weird. How's that? Yeah. So they're a punk band, right? Kiwi punk band, right here in my city, you know. So yeah, and I know Matt really well. You know, he's a good guy, and it's amazing. And you know, let me see if there's any. Oh, here we go. Is this the one? No.
In December, I'll be in Beijing, opening up new pork markets.
Oh.
Stove to serve, serve to stove. They're not to brotherhood, I found they can be broke. Stove to serve, serve to stove. They're not to brotherhood, I found they can be broke. Seven know the feeling, I think that's what they say. Always in the water, be or not to be a day. Ain't nothing brotherhood, a friendship never met. Paddling for the peak, waiting for the set. Your money no care, who cares if you were broke? The ocean is a highway living up the stove. Which is best to say, but sometimes it's just best. No matter where you set, I'm sure you will agree. Stove to serve, serve to stove.
So that's Wave Pigs. I think this is from 2022. So that's it. Here's a direct FB load of the new video, right? Because all we know, Facebook hates YouTube links. Oh, okay. But here's a YouTube link. So yeah. Oh, brilliant. All right, let's subscribe. Let's get it going on. So the boys do have a YouTube channel. Yes. So let's check out the YouTube channel, right? And what else? And then we'll go into comics. All right. So this is their YouTube channel. It's, you know, I'm going to have a word about, hopefully we can change that to something else, but that is where you can go see them. But let me find some music, something 6 days ago, right? 3 songs 6 days ago. Okay, that's the one we just listened to. Right, that's it. This is a different one. Duncan T. Anzac Road Analog Sessions. A classic punk rock.
This is the story of Duncan T. How was it to know? What was it to do?
His voice is kind of like between Offspring and Suicidal. Yeah? Am I wrong? And the cool thing here is it sounds young. I don't know why it sounds young, but it sounds young. And these guys, you know, it's just, yeah. you know.
Yesterday feels like tomorrow. All these places that I've been.
I was gonna get them on the radio one time, but then I ended up not doing radio, but they were overseas and stuff, and it was But I think I can't remember exactly what we decided, whether they were going to come back into town and then we'll do it. But yeah, maybe we'll see how it goes. And those boys are just down the road, by the way, as well. Anyway, well, sorry, I'm trying to answer this. I forgot to put it on. So the question is Alien Weaponry around? So for those of you guys who don't know, Alien Weaponry is from just down the road from us. Right? There's a little town, Waipu. The boys are from there. And if you haven't heard the music, let me play you something. And I always forget the name. This is it's like I have such a hard time, and I always forget the name with this. Let's play something live because I've seen them play, right, on their videos and stuff, but never live. So actually, why haven't I play live? Thank you for the nugget. Appreciate it, bud. Resurrection Fest. Glacier. Spain. Espanol. Welcome, everyone if you're watching from Spain, what you do here, right? So about the same sort of size of concert goers as we had for Bloodywood. Boys have gotten older. Well, it's been like 5 years. Yeah. So this is Alien Weaponry. He's doing the haka. Hey, Nugget. The bass is nice bass. What I do, apologies, this silly thing flipping. I macked it up. And got me all messed up. Let's get away from everything else. The double bass is cool. The driving bass and guitar is awesome. I didn't realize they were three-piece. Huh. I should buy the album. If they release, it'd be nice to get a like a actual vinyl, like my baby here. Come here, you. Now, I'm trying to figure out. So, what I mean by my baby.
Let's get the shit. Start the resurrection festival.
Right. Sorry about that. It looks like it's just messing around with my Wi-Fi, but metal, right? Metal. It's the most metal is the most inclusive form of music in the world, as far as I'm concerned. I might be wrong, but that's me, you know. But I reckon it is, and as a fan of metal for 35 years or just over, I've been in concerts and never feared for myself. Never had anybody, and I'm in like big concerts, right? Thousands of people, and nobody's ever said, "Hey, what you doing here?" Ever, you know. And I think the idea that like it's just for white people, it's and people who don't know it in their heads, like it's ignorant people, right? So yeah, so I think that's what I love about heavy metal. I think it's just the greatest form of expression out there when it comes to music. You can scream, you can, you can play really, hardcore, like grinding music and then just be doing a ballad, right? Or you can, you can just do guttural, and, one of my friends does that. But I'm not a fan of it. But I think, I think that I can't say you got to play something. That's like just a stupid thing to say. Like it's got a place, and and the thing. It is what it is, and you appreciate it for what it is. It's like a genre, right? It's like sci-fi, drama, action, comedy. It's like that. So if you see it like that, then you go, yeah, okay, I like drama, so I like death metal, right? I like, I like action, so I like thrash metal, right? That kind of thing. So I think, yeah, I think, you know, I love metal for that. I love metal for the welcoming. Like if you walk in as a poser, which means like I'm pretending, like here's the thing, right? So the other day, this is what I saw at a local shop, in a clothing shop, where you come to me. This. Oh, let me get rid of this one. Remove from stage. See the flowers? This is Metallica. See the flowers? I was like, it's so who's the artist anymore? Like, is what's his name? Gosh, who's the artist? Is Pusshead? Is Puss? Do you guys know? Like, if you're watching, do you know if Pusshead is the Metallica artist? Right? Maybe I'll just go and look. I'll ask the internet. Right? Is Pusshead? Is Pusshead the Metallica? spin that thing. Excuse me, but I'll ask it again. Give me one sec. Because I used to have Metallica t-shirts. I used to have Metallica hats. I think I what was it? Right, so all right, so this is, where is it? Right, Brian Show. All right, so let's go. So this is, let's get some art. Right, let's get some art. And then we're going to comics after this because it's a good segue to get it. So Wikipedia, right? Let's see what Wikipedia has to say about the artist for Metallica. Whose work? So the reason I was saying this, and I'm gonna eat my words right here, right? I'm gonna have to eat my words. So this is a $40 t-shirt, right? $40. Can you see that? At a right at a with the design on there, at a normal, not a music shop, or a instrument shop, we could say, right? Because they also have, like, not memorabilia, paraphernalia, merchandise, right? So I saw it, and I was like, I usually kind of think of like that shop as being about pop culture. So you could buy like something like this, right? This was actually a gift from my sister, so I don't know where she bought it from. But like Batman, Superman, anime stuff. That's what they're known as, and summer clothes and stuff. But to see a Pusshead T-shirt, right, and I don't know what you guys would call it there, but it's like it's JJ's, right? To see it at JJ's, because I go there to buy anime shirts, and because I buy a few of them all the time, and like my friend bought me My Hero Academia, excuse me, basketball shirt, I think it was, or baseball shirt, as a gift. Same guy that I mentioned earlier on with the hen, right? So this I'm talking about poses, right? So imagine someone just going, "Oh, this is a cool shirt. I'm just going to wear it." In the old days, you'd kind of go like, "Yo, dude, you like Metallica? What song you listen? What's your favorite song, or what's your favorite album? Like, who's your favorite member, right? What did you think of Anesthesia Pulling Teeth, man? What did you think of that? Did did you know that he's dead? Do you know this is how we behave as fans, right? And we see new people with like something, with like, with a Metallica t-shirt or Megadeth t-shirt. Like, if I'm wearing a Megadeth t-shirt, you expect me to be into Megadeth because I am into Megadeth, or otherwise I would not wear it. But the difference between Megadeth and a Metallica is that Metallica you can buy in any shop, any clothes shop. But a Megadeth t-shirt you won't, right? And so I'll leave that there. But past that, man, like, gosh, I used to wear art on my, like t-shirts, clothes, right? So patches, stuff like that. And because in the old days you had like patches about this big and it would fit right. So like it was like that, right? So the shape was like that. So it fit right on the back of your denim jacket. It was so freaking cool. And like it was made just for that, of course. So let me get out of here and I want to show you something, which is kind of funny. Because I've joined metal groups, metal pages and stuff like that. I know why that messed up because the freaking Facebook was trying to do its thing. So am I still with you? Yep. Let me just find this place and I'll show you what went down. And oh no, I want you that thing. I'm just going to show you this this really cool oh gosh, where is it? The patch, like what I mean by that patch. So right. So actually, you know what? I want to show you something cool. My mom turned 71 on Saturday. All right. So I am going to show you this photo we took. And I shared it on metal pages for the specific reason. Because my mom has known me as a metalhead since I was in my teens. All right. And she isn't bothered by me wearing Megadeth at all, right? So mom is like, my 71-year-old mom is like, she's like, yeah, it's okay. And then one of my other siblings was like, I can't take a photo with you because you got a Megadeth t-shirt on. It's gonna look bad. And it's like seriously? I mean, like mom's like, yo, where's my son here? You know? And so I want to segue a bit. So there is this word out there, right? Out there that I totally despise, and it's called POC. So POC, quote, POC, is a racist term. I hate it. And it's taken me a while to get to that phrase, why I hate it. It's somebody else telling me what I am and putting me into a basket with what they think every other people like me are, right? POC, person of color. So they put you into a basket and go, that's a person of color. Those are persons of color, kind of thing. And I'm like, it's a racist term, right? So please don't use that if you're out there. But I mean, that's just me. Hey, if you feel like you need to go for it. But if you are confused about what somebody is, just ask. I had to do that on Monday. It's like, so this lady, and we were talking about language because our instructor was probably Chinese because the way she was she was dropping the R's. I think it was, I'm not sure. I might be wrong. Maybe she was Korean because we do have a lot of amazing Korean local business people and people I actually know and am friends with, shopkeepers, because I tend to like talk to everybody because treat them like humans and they'll treat you like humans back, right? Treat them friendly and they'll treat you friendly back. And that's should be just normal for everybody. But so I was just saying to the lady, goes, oh, so I said, yeah, it's really, she must be finding it really hard, like getting, like, seeing the words, trying to understand in Chinese what it means, and then trying to speak it out in English. Because it's the same for me, right? English is my first language now, but I was born Indian, so which means Hindi was my first language. But after about a couple of years in New Zealand, I lost that. I still don't know how to speak properly a full Indian. So I was just talking to her, and she goes, oh, so what are you? Well, I thought she said, like, what language do you speak then? Oh, I said, I'm Indian. I speak Hindi. how easy was that? You know, that's what I mean. Like, oh, she didn't go, oh, you're a person of color. You know? But I think we were getting a bit sidetracked. So I'm gonna get us to what I need to get us to, which is, my dear friends, some cool art and some amazing work by my amazing team of artists. Now, I don't know if this is going to work the way I want it to work, because I'm using on this really where are we? Is it going to work for me? This really different screen, right? So I have 3 screens. I have my work screen, which is like a 43-inch TV. Next to that is my visual, like my TV screen, which I watch YouTube on. And next on, like the setup like this, right? So like L. So which is those 2 are there, and this one is here. And so this is only like a friggin', what is that, like a 6-inch? No, 40, so 20-inch? Maybe a 20-inch. Yeah. Hey, Laser. Yeah. I don't base people on their appearance. I base them on their merits and shit. Yeah. That's the way we've always used to be. All right. So let's get Mum out of there. And let's put that away. And let's find. Right. Now let's get this very small and this over there. So right now we're almost finished. My amazing artist, Francisco Conti, right, is working on the second part of this series. Let me just get you there. Second part of sweet. Cheers, bud. Yeah, I tend to do that as well. You know, do stuff while the other. That's why I have 3 screens. Seriously. And this screen cost me about $15 because nobody wants a computer screen anymore. They want a huge thing, or they want a concave. So I got a $15 screen right in front of me for TV, right? And so I'll show you my setup since I've got this. So while we're speaking about this, because then you can understand what I'm trying to show, talk about. No, there we go. All right. So this is how brilliant, not brilliant, what was that word, like professional I am. That's the word. So let me just pop this out. I just want to show you guys. This is how professional I am. Right? That's what I mean by screen. Like, so there's my computer. There is a webcam right there, stuck like sellotape to a metal, what is it, like a metal Avengers cup, right? Yeah, the ones that like you put cold stuff in and it stays cold, right? So that's this here. Let me see if we can, right? Can you see it? It's actually sellotape. That's how professional I'm doing this on. There's my $300 webcam, and there's a TV screen, the computer screen, right? What is that like? It's just a CPU. What do they call it? I can't remember now. But yeah, so you can see that's what I mean. I paid $10 for that screen. Yeah, it's like, I mean, that's that, and that's how professional I am. This is like the other day. I was watching Robservations. Robservations, we had Robert Meyer Burnett on, and he was talking about how he learned in New Zealand the number 8 wire rule. But so I don't know where he's the Mickey Mouse thing. But he said, I think it was yesterday or the day before on his observation, that in New Zealand he learned that we, because we're pioneer, our forebears were pioneers in New Zealand, we learned how to get by on as little as possible. And yeah, exactly. So I mean, like, so I got 2 TV screens and, you know, a 40, I think it's a 36. I think a 36 or 43, and this one, right? I think I paid 150 for the other one, like the smaller one, and then there's $10 for this one. You know, everything's so cheap now because people like going into the bigger, bigger, bigger. So the little ones are like cheap. And so $10, I got a friggin' video screen I can see you guys on, and you know, chat with you, and you know, show you what I'm doing and stuff. So anyway, so he was just talking about how in New Zealand, because see, in New Zealand's so far away from everything, right? If you really think about it. So so the pioneers from Europe, right? When they got here, they had to make do with what they had. So there was this thing about the number 8 wire. So the number 8 wire is it's a metal thing about, it's a bit thicker than this, and you'd use that for everything. If your muffler was falling off because of the rough road, you got the number 8 wire and you hooked it up, right? You stuck it to the whatever connector was falling off. So the nut was coming off, you stuck the number 8 wire in there instead of the bolt. That was like everything. So we learned how to, like, you know, our forebears learned how to do that. So we have the number 8. What is this? I see what happened there. It's the number 8 wire attitude, and it's something that's very, you know, ingrained into us as Kiwis. And you just make do with what you have. And if you don't, you just ask your neighbor, you know, or, you know, that's the way it is. But usually you just try to do it with on yourself. So this is an amazing little project called, it's amazing because I see something that has come to life that I never thought it would. I always hoped. And I did try it with somebody else a couple of years back, about 2 years back. We wanted to, but here's the thing, right? This story, Robot Nation, is based on a little bay or little beach or little area over there, Turakaka, right? And I got all the photos and stuff of the area, and I said to this guy that had just joined Risings and Comics, you know, hey, it would be cool if you can do this 12-page story with me, right? And because I'm looking at making this into a longer story, but all over the world, part of this, you know, this idea that is in part of the story, that we do it all over the world, and kind of like, you know, like, and by the way, this was written a while back, excuse me, but now we just, you know, the stories, the like the 12 pages of the story, Robot Nation, is complete, right? So it's like they all each, like, there's 2 stories for this book, so there's a 12-page and a 16-page. So that's 20. Is that 32? No, 28 pages of story, right? So you get 2 stories for, you know, in one book. So, and nothing happened. Basically turned it down. Wait a couple of years, like probably 2 years, and I get San Francisco, you know, offered San Francisco, and say, hey, what do you want to do? This book, like, that's the red dot, you know, TM, trademark, right? Yeah, be cool. So he does something, and you know, I'll change this, and then I realize he's not really excited about that project. So what if I just try this? And he nails it. Like, every page is friggin' amazing, as you can see, right? It's just friggin' awesome. So, you know, the details in this thing, like, seriously, look at this thing. All right. You can see this guy loves, you know, loves working on this project. That this is the project that he's been kind of like, you kind of feel like this is the project he's been waiting all his life for, right? And let me get rid of the words. And you know, he's putting his everything into it. He's inking his own work, right? He's inking his own work. He's penciling penciling, and then he's inking his own work, and he's enjoying it. And every time I get a page, I do my best not to change anything, right? There's only, I got 2 pages a couple of weeks ago, and I only had to do one thing, which is cut and paste and flip, because I couldn't get the words where I wanted it. That was it. That's it. And the other thing was that in New Zealand, we ride on the left. Yeah, we. Gosh, is it? Yeah, we ride on the left side of the road, not on the right side. Basically opposite to America. So I had to get them to change that part. That was, as you can see here, right? So when you look at this, you go, wait, why is it over here? Shouldn't he be over here driving? Do you get it? So yeah, that was basically it. And everything else, I was like, I don't think we think so. This is all the pages here, right, for this book, and I'm struggling whether I should just have it black and white or should I get it fully covered. And I'm like, I don't know if I want it fully colored. I want this to be, I want. Do you want to save that one because that's the way I like it. Right. Let's get rid of the words. All right. You just look at the page. It is so detailed. It is so detailed. It's just so good. Excuse me. And I got 2 pages the other day, pencils. I lettered them because I letter all my work. I designed the book, I letter it, I do everything on it apart from the art, and so that's got like a lot of in-house stuff that I can't do. So these are the main 2 characters in this in the story, and it's just I didn't even tell him. I think I kept everything to a minimum, like what I wanted the characters to look like and stuff. So, and this is the other story. So this is the pencil I was telling you about. I don't think I put the other. Let me just see. So let me just. Here we go. This is the one. So this is the second story. This is called The Trouble with Bobo. I still have a laugh about that one. So the reason I'm having a laugh about that one is because one of my friends' nickname is Bobo, right? But this I didn't know. I'd already called my story Bobo, and then I was told that we were just on live, doing a podcast, and he was going to join, and Johnson, and Hawk comes and goes, "Hey, Bobo," and I'm like, "What?" But anyway, so this is called The Trouble with Bobo. This is set in space, not like the other one set here in Tutakaka, Northland, right? Whangarei Heads kind of thing area. So, this is about a young family in space. Check out the ship. He even lettered what I wrote. I didn't even ask him to write it in. I just told him what was there, but he lettered that as well. Is that cool or what? So I didn't have to actually, do it myself. But I mean, look at it. I just set up and told him what it was, and I just went, "You go for it." I mean, I didn't even say you go for it. I just say, you know, this is what I want, and you're free to do whatever you want. And so this is issue 1, and I think what page is this? Let me just find this one, then I can tell you where we're at, how much is done, and then we can finish off here. So this page is 9, right? So 9 comma down 9. Right. So there we go. That's what I was. Oh, there are the 2 pages. So 9, 10, 11, 12. 13, 14, 15, 16, which means we have 4 more pages until this comic is finished. Now, the problem I have, right, is that this is a pinup we did for for Kickstarter. Not for Kickstarter, for our Patreon page, right? We were gonna put mature content. So this is a safe, this is safe for work, whatever they call it. So this is, I asked them to do the specific little piece of art, kind of like because the whole thing about this comic book, because I don't think I haven't. Oh yeah, I have actually done the cover. I mean, the logo for it. So let me just, but before that, so the whole thing about this comic is that I want to do a series. I've already worked out a couple more stories, and I was just thinking about one, which I'm gonna like do it myself, but I want to see what an AI would do with it if I put in these words and stuff, this plots and stuff. But I'm not using that. Just want to make sure you guys understand. I'm not using that crap. But I just want to see how easy it was for Hollywood writers, right, to use AI to plot out their stories, right? And I learned it's very friggin' easy. And I might actually show you guys that later, another broadcast, another live stream, whatever, what the AI turned up from what I put into it, right, for my story, because I came up with it and I've got all the characters, everything, and I said this is what has to happen here, this is what happens, and how it's built out. And I realized how easy it is for writers, right, to use Chat GPT to write a film script or a TV episode, right, using that. And it was just, it was like I can see why they would do it, and I could see how empty it is because it's just formulaic, and it's just But I'll show you guys in another stream. But this is one of the I think it's one of the characters. But so the thing is, like, I wanted this gun because I put together this gun design, and I asked them to draw it for me, and isn't that cool? Like this huge blaster, right? And the cool thing here is it's based off a Nerf gun. So if you want to cosplay, right, as one of the characters, you just grab a Nerf gun and jack it up. I think it's up there somewhere, and jack it up, right? Let's just like put more stuff and make it flesh it out. But yeah, But yeah, man, like, so I realize that he's having really good fun with this, so I haven't have to, you know, push or whatever. Like, hey, I just go, yep, you know. So if you want to support us financially, join our Patreon, and I'm going to leave it there for tonight. I didn't realize it was 3 hours, man. But thank you for watching. I appreciate it. I think the opportunity to do great things is here, right? There's no better time to get started into doing something amazing or learn something new. Everything is available to you on YouTube, right? I could go grab my guitar and I could look at, a video and learn how to play it, right? And it'll take me a couple of days probably if I'm really, really good at it, if I'm really forcing myself, or, a month. But at least I am doing it, learning something new. And I freaking forgot about them, bud. I really did. I freaking forgot about them. I'll pop around next week. Plus, when are you going to come on, Laser? And talk about what you do, dude. Because it'll be cool, man. Like, I would really, really, I think I should get, you should, if you can arrange babysitters, would you be able to come on our Fungrake invades Fungrake creatives invasion, or what is it called? Let me have a look. I was got so much going on, I forget what I'm supposed to be, what we got coming up next. Okay, so tomorrow we have unboxing coming up, right? It's an hour earlier due to the time things over in the US. From one side to the other side, it's 2 hours difference. So if you're able to, Laser, if you could come on one of these episodes in November, please. All right. So, Fungrake Creative Invasion. You can use your phone, like I used to do. Just set it up on a tripod and go, "Hello, what's up?" Not much, not much effort, but on that, it's just like setting up, this little thing here, which thanks to Matt, I was able to get right, and yeah, but yeah, man, like I would like yeah, it's not major, dude. It's just that's the thing. That's what I mean. Like I used to use my cell phone, right, on here. Oops, on this thing, which by the way, Matt suggested I get, which is perfect for like when I go to do music, but also, right, getting set up like a whatever way. Yeah. Oops, sorry. I should put that one up. Yeah. Yeah. Right. Right. Oh, but that's the other thing. Grunge, right? Grunge, right? Flannel shirts, right? Jeans, so on, from the op shop, right? Because they were used by the uh, forestry workers in Seattle and so on, and whatever miners and stuff, and they were just like they would just it would end up at the op shop, and then the kids would go wear it because they were cheap. I mean, like people, and suddenly you had $1,000 flannel shirt by Goodyear, or Gucci, right? but I could just go down the road and buy $2-3 shirt from the op shop we used to have back in the 90s over here. And because we were too hard into grunge, but I was, I was into grunge and everything else, right? So Tool, Pantera, all that in the 90s. I wasn't there. But anyway, guys, this is what's coming up. I'm just going to get it right. I'm not going to bother. So we've got Whangarei Creative Invasion, Saturday and Sunday nights, New Zealand, right? About the same time I started this tonight. So it's 10 o'clock, 10:30 now in New Zealand. So 3 hours earlier, right? Wherever you are, 3 hours earlier from now. So this is coming up in October. We've got like about 9 persons coming up now. Thank you, Nugget. Yeah, I forgot to thank you for that, Nugget. Appreciate it. But yeah, but yeah, yes, true. But yeah, so it's yeah. So if not Nugget, if Laser comes on, because Laser's a gamer, Twitch gamer, is it broadcaster? I don't know what you guys do there. Podcast live stream. That's a Twitch live streamer, right? So if he comes on, it'll be number 10. So I'm hoping that each week we can get more Whangarei folks on, but we've already got about 3 confirmed out of the 9, and I'm there'll be more going on. No, 4, 5 confirmed, I think. But yeah, it's going to be awesome. But the other thing is, so that's on Saturday nights in October and Sunday nights, Saturday, Sunday nights. But also on Friday nights, we have Kiwis Review Comics. So you saw Rico turn up earlier, right? With this nudes thing comment. But he's going to come and review comics with us. So like I said, we're here for good. Like as long as we're able to, I'll be doing this because I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying talking to so much amazing people. And now I've got my friends joining. We've got people like Big Stu, owns a comic and toy shop all the way from Texas. After he finishes his work, he pops on here every Friday, but Thursday for US, but every Friday for me on here, to do our show. So yeah. Awesome. Yeah, man. Like, it's good to see him succeed, and yourself as well. Family. Both of you guys got families and stuff, so I appreciate that. Taking time out, and yeah, I hope that we can do this. But I really appreciate. And by the way, what he means earlier when he was talking about like when are you going to pick these up? He's talking about this. So he's done a bigger one than this, and this is like I think there's like a tiny one here because it's just the way it was set up in the computer. So there's this one, then this one, then there's another one, there's another bigger one, and so I'm really I'm just so excited. But I mean, this is what our community is like in Whangarei, and we just help each other where we can. And the other thing, I got to pick up the one from the one bigger than this, the 10, like the 7-inch, from was it 5-inch? 5-inch? I think it's a 5.5 inch or 10-inch, 6-inch from Julia because she's painted it. So then we can show that. But thank you, both of you guys, Nugget and Laser. Cheers for joining me tonight, man. I really appreciate it. And everybody else, wherever you are, get down, be well, be safe, and hug your loved ones. You don't know what tomorrow may be. So, give it your best now and learn something new. Be creative and figure out what makes you happy. And if it's not dangerous, chase after it. And if it doesn't, as well as not dangerous or doesn't hurt anybody, chase after it. Especially if it's music and arts. I encourage you to get into music and arts. But if that's not your thing, that's fine. Go into maths, science. But definitely, yeah. Oh, it's talking about like tomato ones. Yeah, it does. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, I'm like, what's the position? But like, thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. I'll figure out next week and we'll come pick it up. But yeah, I really appreciate you guys watching and yeah, backing me up on this. And for everybody else, yeah, good night, both of you guys, man. Ka kite anō. Have a good one. Have an amazing weekend. And yep. Sunday we've got 2, by the way. So midday and 8 o'clock. Fund my comics and Glenn Fleming with his new comic on Kickstarter, I think it is, or Indiegogo. But yeah, that's in the evening because one's from America, one's from the UK. So thank you guys. We'll see you tomorrow if you're around midday. If not, we'll see you on Sunday midday and 8 o'clock in New Zealand time. But figure that out wherever you are. In New Zealand, doesn't matter. It's North Island, South Island. It's the same time. So see you later.